Hey everyone, it's Detroit Gamesters, and we're back. It's been quite a bit of a hiatus we've had since the last one, but we're finally ready to kind of talk a little bit more about some exciting gaming news.
Yeah, what's up, everybody? I know it's been a while. Sorry, don't hate us. We've been busy in the summer. Things have
Yeah,
been fun, and we went on a vacation actually, so that kept us kind of busy. So I guess maybe we can tell everyone about some of the gaming related stuff that's kept us busy. So we did two things that I think were kind of out of like my normal wheelhouse. So the Witcher concert,
yeah,
and we went to Epic Universe in Orlando.
which was also dope.
Yeah, which is pretty cool. So yeah, RJ, what do you want to talk about first?
Yeah, let's talk about the Witcher concert. This was to celebrate the Witcher 3 10-year anniversary. So they've been kind of showcasing a lot in terms of merchandising for The Witcher 3. They released a special limited controller for the Xbox, which I think is pretty cool. I got that for Shamir. They're also released a bunch of merchandise and like clothing, which was also at the concert that we visited in Michigan. So that was cool. And then during the concert, they actually had the co-composers of the game debut for the very first time and tour for the very first time in Michigan. That was their very first attempt to tour around the world and play music while showing cutscenes of every chapter of the game, which I think was pretty neat the way they did it. They had it structured really well. And listening to the music live, it was so good that I honestly couldn't tell that it was actually being played live because while watching the cutscenes, it felt very immersive. So I think it was a great way to kind of showcase the music, which I've honestly forgotten about because it really is. I don't know. It really hits pretty deep, I think, and it really adds
Yeah.
a lot to the game that I didn't really remember before.
Yeah. So this is my first time ever doing an experience like this, and I don't know. I think I was like a little on the fence. Like I know the Final Fantasy one came around a while back, and I like Final Fantasy, but I don't like it as much as Witcher. So I was like, I don't know. Am I going to be into all this orchestra stuff? So I skipped out on that. But man, I am so happy I went to the Witcher one. It is so much cooler in person than I would have ever imagined.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think Arjun did a really good job describing it, and man, like that's those songs just hit you, and like when you're hearing them in person, like God, it just sounds so good. And I remember like way back in the day, like I would listen to some like recordings of the actual like orchestra sessions with Halo, like when they were making like Halo 3. And I was like, damn, the quality is so good. But like when you're there in person, it just like really blows you away. So I thought that was dope. I actually thought like the way they kind of made a montage with the like gaming clips, I thought that was pretty creative and it really added to it. And there was definitely times where I felt so hyped. Like they were showing the Witcher swords, like, flashing around, and there was like fire everywhere. And
Yeah.
then they had like the drums beating and just some crazy music. And I was like, let's go, bro.
Yeah.
Let's go. I'm ready to play this game right
Or the
now.
romantic scenes. They had a couple of romantic scenes.
Shoo! Yeah,
Girls and
it got hot and spicy up in there.
yeah.
And yeah, they were like really cool about it too. Like, I think the lady at the start of the concert was like, "Yeah, like this is a concert, guys. So if you guys want to make some noise, go for it."
Yeah, it was kind of funny that she had mentioned that,
Yeah.
to preface it. But no,
Well, I feel like a lot of times, like when you think of classical music, you think of everyone just sitting
yeah,
peacefully, just like enjoying the moment. And I think she was trying to encourage people, like, "Hey, man,
yeah,
like
like you can be hyped.
if you want to be hype, if you want to nerd
Yeah,
out, like go for it."
yeah,
So that was cool.
and a good mix of like not to hate on or to generalize here, but obviously a lot of adults showed up, and there's a good mix of people dressed up in costumes and cosplaying versus people that were dressed up, really fancy to the
Yeah, man, there was
concert.
like people who were like looked like they were just coming to see a play, and I was like,
Mm.
dude, did you even play Witcher? Like, I
Yeah,
don't know if you're
yeah,
about that life.
I know that's funny.
So that was cool. It was in the Fisher Theater, and if anyone has not seen the Fisher Theater, like that's an absolute gem of Detroit. Like you gotta
Yeah,
go. Like they restored that place, looks amazing. And yeah, at the end there was some Witcher 4 music too.
yeah,
And I was looking this up a little bit. I don't think it's been confirmed who is making all the Witcher 4 music, but the fact that they showed us the co-composers for Witcher 3 and they're
mm,
playing the music live. The co-composers are also playing, and then the Witcher 4 part comes on and they're still playing the music,
yeah,
and thematically it just connects. And
yeah,
I don't know, I guess like I was kind of concerned about how disjointed the Witcher 4 would feel compared to Witcher 3, and I don't know, maybe I'm being too much of a fanboy and this is
it's all good.
biased, but when I was sitting through the concert, I felt like it was a smooth
It
transition.
was pretty
Like
smooth.
Like if you played all of Halo 4, like music and cutscenes, and then you move to Halo 4, like from Halo 3 to Halo 4, it'd be so jarring, right?
Yeah.
Or even God of War, because it's like totally different, country. But man, when they were showing the Witcher 3 stuff and then they went to Witcher 4, it just felt like a smoothless transition.
Yeah, I feel like, see, when we play games, or at least for me, when I play games, I'm so focused on the actual gameplay. Sometimes I zone out with the music. And so I feel like just watching a cutscene for Witcher 4 and them playing music live really told a story. Like it really built up tension. It showed there was suspense, that, Ciri is trying to fight this demon within this forest to save
Yeah.
this girl that's being sacrificed. And you feel it through the music.
Oh yeah.
But if I was playing
Oh, it
that
was
in a
so
game,
creepy too. Like when the
yeah,
music was blasting in front of you.
yeah. But if I were to be playing that, live and then they're playing that music, I feel like the music gets drowned out often for me when I'm playing games because I am so focused on that one thing, right? My attention span might be just focused on something else. So yeah, I feel like it does make up a good chunk of why people love this series. And I think going forward, I'm going to start listening to a lot of more of the music after I beat games and just to really experience it because I know you do that a lot, Shamir.
Yeah.
As you write your stories and you go out and you do things, you
Yeah,
constantly
sometimes I try
music.
and channel the vibe. So I've been listening to a lot of lo-fi music, but yeah, I mix it up. Like I listen to Witcher 3 Orchestra. Then I listen to a lot of Halo 3 ODST. That's a vibe I really
Cool.
like. I've listened to a little bit of like Zelda music,
Okay.
but I think sometimes that's a little too distracting because it's like so recognizable that it
Okay.
like pulls me out.
Yeah.
But yeah, and I didn't even realize it, but I listen to so much of like the Witcher music in the background while I've done my writing that I recognize a lot of the songs when they were
It's
playing them,
pretty
and I was like,
good.
"Oh, this is so cool!"
Which, just a side note too, like Ghost of Yotai coming out, there's a mode you can play with the lo-fi
Oh
music.
yeah, yeah,
I
I'm
think I
totally gonna
definitely
do
want to
that.
try that
Yeah,
out
it's gonna be
just to
so
see.
cool.
And whether that changes my mood and way I play a game, like remains to be seen. But I think if that is successful, I feel like more games should start doing that going forward.
Yeah,
Because again, you want to give recognition to these people. Like that makes up a big part of
yeah.
why the game is
I
so
mean, I
good.
feel like it must be making money like these concerts and stuff because. I mean, I wouldn't think Detroit is like the biggest venue, and it was
Right.
it was pretty
It was
packed.
pretty packed. I would say it was like 70% full
Yeah,
at least.
yeah, it was. Yeah, so definitely they made some good money off of that.
Yeah.
So that
And
was pretty dope, and I think the PlayStation concert's coming up too.
yeah, there's actually two coming up. So there's a PlayStation concert coming up and an Avatar: The Last Airbender concert coming up.
Yeah, I guess this is like more common thing now.
Yeah, that seems to be it's
This
gotten a
might
lot of traction.
this might be a cardinal sin to admit, but I've never super gotten into Avatar.
Oh my
Like
god.
I like Avatar, but I don't know. I guess I just like fell off somewhere, like when they were on the way to the Earth Empire or whatever.
Yeah.
And
Classic insane.
yeah, and then I couldn't get back into it because I was like, man, I can't watch all these episodes again just to pick up where I left off.
Cardinal sin committed.
I know. So I guess like I'm not as hype about that one, but
Oh
I mean
man.
that's probably going to be amazing because from what I remember, the music was good.
It's amazing.
And I bet you that's going to be crazy busy. And then the PlayStation concert, I think is interesting because it's like multiple games, right? Like it's
Yeah.
not just one thing.
Yeah.
So you're gonna have like nice variety, right?
Yeah, that's variety. I mean, that one I was interested in. I think we're both busy that day, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah. I mean, if I could make it
Um,
happen, that'd be great. But
yeah.
we'll see.
We'll see. We can take a look still.
Maybe
It's
all of
not
you
too
guys
late.
should go because it's gonna be hype for
Yeah.
sure. So that was cool, and I guess the second thing in the real world that we've done, not our online world, was Epic Universe. So we actually just got back, so we wanted to time this podcast to after we got back because really we wanted to talk a lot about Super Nintendo Land. So
Yeah, and just the attractions and the theme parks in general. But yeah, like I think the biggest thing for me that I was hyped for going into Epic Universe was Nintendo Land, and maybe we can just get straight into it. But like my general thoughts is that like amazing what they did. I think out of all five attractions within Epic Universe, this was the best in terms of layout, design, aesthetic, music, like the vibe of it. I think it was geared a little more towards younger adult or kids and teens for sure, but it did feel nostalgic. There's three good rides there. You have Mario Kart, you have the Mine Cart with for Donkey Kong, and then you have this little Baby Yoshi ride, basically, which are all great. There's a good diversification of it there. But I think the merchandise they were selling was good. I think the food that they had to accommodate alongside the park was okay. Wasn't anything super special. And then I think overall, again, just seeing how happy everyone was and taking pictures. And again, left to right, top to bottom. It's just it really makes you feel part of literally a Super Mario game. Like not even
Yeah.
the 3D games, just like the
Yeah.
2D platforming
I
games.
I think they
Great
absolutely
job.
I think they absolutely killed it. Like, and it's like the small details. Like as soon as you get to the park, you everyone just rushes towards Super Nintendo Land, and then you have the pipes going up, and the escalators are pipes,
Yeah.
and then that's such a nice idea. And then you see the little green flashing
Yeah.
lights and the music, and then as soon as you pop out, you're in Peach's castle, and I think it's Peach's castle, right? And
Yeah.
from Mario 64,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
and
yeah.
oh man, and it's really the subtle things. Like what blew me away was how they had the little picture frames, just like they had
Yeah.
in Mario 64.
Yeah.
And then when kids were going up and touching them,
You
the
get the
screen would
little
react
yeah,
with a little like shimmer,
yeah,
right, like a
just
little
like the way the
ripple,
game did.
just like the game did. I was like, oh, that is such a nostalgic detail.
Yeah, that was
They
amazing.
completely nailed that. And then you go from there to see the space, and it's really like, honestly, it's smaller than I expected, but it's just an overload with like music and
Yeah.
like animatronics. It really feels like I was in the Super Mario Bros movie. Like
Yeah. It
the
was nostalgic.
just nailed it. I think the Donkey Kong ride was honestly one of my favorite, and
Yeah.
it's pretty inventive because you think you're on the train tracks, but you're
Yeah.
not. You're actually being held in place by a lever. So at times there's like a break in the train track, and you're like, "Oh crap, I'm gonna fall," but you're good.
Yeah,
So
to kind of simulate like the old school Donkey Kong Country games where you're platforming using the minecart and jumping from section to section, they built it in such a way where it looks like the tracks are broken. So you have to platform, but then you're on this invisible or you're on a lever invisible track that's still pushing you through or taking you through. So I think that was phenomenal,
yeah,
honestly.
that was probably my favorite. I think my second favorite was probably the Mario Kart
Yeah.
ride. What'd you think of that one?
That was interesting. So it's more of like an AR type experience where you're sitting in a cart with three other people. You're basically competing against other people because you're going at the same time, and you have an AR glasses in front of you, and you're basically getting weapons or items to shoot like you are in Mario Kart. And yeah, they did a good job in some sense. And the cart is moving around. It's like turning you, spinning you side to side, but it was kind of slow.
Yeah,
So it reminds me of the Men in Black ride at the other resort, but just not as fast. I think it could have been
yeah.
a little
It
faster.
made me feel a little nauseated at times. It was just a little jarring, but so I wasn't entirely sold on the ride. But as soon as we hit Rainbow Road, oh
Oh
man,
yeah, that
dude!
was cool.
As soon as I hit Rainbow Road, I was like, oh man, let's go, let's
Yeah.
go.
So the last section of the ride being Rainbow, and everyone has a star, and you're
Oh
just kind
yeah.
of going a little
I mean,
faster.
the Bowser's Castle part of the ride was cool, but
Yeah.
man, Rainbow Road just did it for me.
So that was another thing coming into this Mario Kart section of the park. You have Bowser's Castle, but you have a huge Bowser statue coming in. So it reminds me of I think like the DS level of Mario Kart stages. So they did it just again a great job of the interior decoration coming in makes you really feel like as you're part of that world. And then again, just to kind of what piggyback off what you said, coming into the park, again, you see the picture frames. Like, what a smart idea to first show off that you're in Peach's castle.
Yeah.
So I think some of those things hit really well. And then they had specific drinks and food.
Oh yeah.
You know,
And I like that. I think um really, I feel like Universal took a lot of their learnings from Harry Potter and they just adapted it in
yeah,
Nintendo. And they realized what people love is all of like the extra details, right?
yeah,
Like when you have themed food, themed drinks, and even the queues. Like instead of just like sitting around waiting, like their queues felt like an experience because it felt like being a part of the video game. There
yeah.
was so much stuff going on.
The cafeteria was nice.
The
Interior
Toad's
decoration.
Cafe, yeah,
Yeah,
that was pretty cool,
yeah,
man.
that was really good. But again, the food
The
just
food
kind of
sucked,
was
yeah.
let down. But it was great just to see
The
everything.
food was super Instagrammable, but honestly, it was nothing special.
Yeah,
I think the Donkey Kong float thing you got was pretty
that was
cool.
really good.
That was delicious, but
And it came with a Donkey Kong mug to keep as a souvenir. So you're basically paying for the mug but
yeah,
getting a drink for free.
yeah, yeah,
It's a float. And then, just to kind of let people know, we had the Fast Pass as well, which doing some of our research realized that like it would probably benefit us. And we
yeah.
honestly got to cut through so many
Yeah,
lines.
I
We did
mean,
not have to
it
wait.
was crazy expensive, but I think in hindsight it was worth it.
Yeah.
I think a normal ticket was $160, and then the fast pass, depending on when you get it, is a different price. But when we bought it, it was 260, I want to say,
Yeah, 260.
or 220, and then our buddy bought it a week after us, and he had to pay more. So definitely get it early. And then we also stayed at one of the Universal hotels. We got a really good deal off Expedia.
Yeah.
So then we were able to show up an hour early, and even with that, man, it probably took us 11 hours to see the entire park,
Yeah,
right?
but we did hit every
We
aspect
hit
of the
every
park.
thing. So I guess like if any of you guys are thinking about going to Epic Universe, we heard some chatter online that hey, don't go in the first year, it's not worth it. But honestly, I think it's 100% worth going in your even in the first year. If you're worried about being busy, I think the fast pass is totally worth it because you're able to enjoy the amusement park without
Yeah,
having to wait in all the lines.
yeah,
And in the first month, this is kind of dumb, but you couldn't use the fast pass on three of the most popular rides, including the Donkey Kong ride. They just changed it so you can actually use it on the Donkey Kong ride, which I think makes a huge difference.
yeah. It made a
So
huge difference. We waited what
yeah,
10 minutes at
yeah. I
most.
mean, if I could go back, 100% I would do the fast pass again.
I think it's unfortunate that you can only use the fast pass once per
Once, yeah.
ride. Because if I could, I would maybe have gone to some of the rides 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest.
Well, I think like later as Epic gets less busy, right? Like they'll probably do that. But right now, like everybody's going there,
Yeah,
and God, we saved so much time. Like I almost felt bad. Like
yeah.
some of the people, I think at one point the wait for Donkey Kong was like 2 hours or 2.5 hours.
It's insane.
Oh my God, it was so bad. And then like your fast pass, you're there in like 20,
Yeah,
if that.
it's like we're cutting for everyone.
It
So like,
oh man, and so that kind of feels a little crappy, but honestly, it does feel great too.
yeah, it is a good
So
feeling.
that was Super Nintendo Land. So just really, just absolutely blown away. Like I have been like thinking about this for a long time. I think God, even back in the pandemic,
We talked about it
like
2 3 years
yeah,
ago.
right, like even 2021 or something like
Yeah,
that.
when they
Like
announced it.
they announced it, and we've been wanting to go. And then I was in Japan, and I thought about going to Osaka to Universal Studios Japan, but it was Golden Week, so just like crazy busy. So it kind of worked out, and really, you guys got to go if you can. It's gonna be so nostalgic.
Yeah, and honestly, using Expedia, we were able to get a good price on the resort itself. It was not expensive at all for 4
Yeah,
people, and it was what was it called? Summer, endless summer,
endless dockside in
and
the summer. Yeah,
yeah,
so that was not bad. And then we flew Spirit,
yeah, and
but that was
honestly,
fine. Honestly,
I haven't been on Spirit in a while, and that was a comfortable ride.
that was
I'm not
not
gonna lie,
bad. That was not
like I'm
bad.
not gonna,
I mean, like me and the wifey, I don't
yeah,
know,
different
like
story,
but like if it's
but
just the boys, like
yeah, like it
just
was
do Spirit,
absolutely,
bro.
I was perfectly fine with it and no problems.
Yeah. So
Yeah, another thing that happened, to preface what before we got there was that someone did pass away in one of the
I know,
rides,
man, terrible.
which
He
was
was
unfortunate.
32, which is
Yeah,
crazy.
R.I.P.
And I don't know. I think like I'm hearing a lot of stuff online where people are like, oh, he had pre-existing medical conditions, but other people are like, oh, the ride was screwed up. So I don't know what happened, but
Yeah,
a
it's hard to say.
32-year-old guy, he died like within the first few months. It's heartbreaking. That
I'll,
sucks.
I'll say this, and again, not to take away anything from his death, but I'm sure this is a little more common than we think, but it gets swept under the rug
Oh
often.
yeah.
This cannot be the first and only death ever at Universal Studios.
Yeah,
Um,
I think someone actually. I was looking this up. I didn't realize it on like Rip Ride Rocket or something. I think someone got really injured or died
yeah,
a couple
so
years ago, and they're actually taking that ride down. I
yeah,
don't know if it's connected, but
still, but yeah, like it must happen every so often, and
yeah,
it is what it is.
just
But
settle, and keep
yeah,
it quiet. But so I guess we could finish talking about some of the other places in
yeah,
Epic, because I mean it's not all Super Nintendo Land, and honestly, some of the other worlds were really good.
yeah.
I've been thinking a lot about how I would rank my list, and I've been going back and forth about number two and number three. But honestly, I think I'd probably put number two as Harry Potter,
Okay.
the Ministry of Magic, and number three is the Isle of Bur, which is How to Train Your Dragon, and then my last one is Monsters. And
Well, I have that higher for me.
yeah, I think I know why, but I'll kind of explain my thoughts. So I was personally overall disappointed with the Ministry of Magic for Harry Potter.
So is I.
But I think that's a reflection of how good the other two parks are. Like
Yeah,
you already have Hogsmeade, you already have Diagon Alley, and the fact that they were still able to squeeze something that unique and good just is a testament to just the world building of Harry Potter and just how immersive it is.
yeah.
Like I thought you would run out of juice completely by that point, and somehow they had enough juice in there to
Well,
make a whole nother land.
so to emphasize kind of or explain what we're talking about, what they had for Harry Potter at Epic Universe was more about the the site itself, the attraction they had for it was very minuscule in
Oh yeah,
comparison.
it
But
was a
they,
small area.
yeah, but they focused specifically on all these different shops, right?
Yeah,
And the plays. There was, I think, two plays.
there was one. Yeah, so have you ever watched Fantastic Beasts?
No.
So, well, honestly, you're not missing out on much. It wasn't great. But if I'm remembering correctly, it's set in Paris. So I think the vibe they were
Oui,
going
oui.
for was it's more of like a prequel and it's like set in Paris. And so instead of British Harry Potter, you get like French Harry Potter.
Mm.
And honestly, that was dope. Like, and that leads me to why I ranked it so high. Honestly, the food and drinks just blew me
The
away.
drinks were amazing.
So good. I mean, they had a butterbeer crepe, which was
That
so
was actually
good,
a really good.
mind blowing. Best dessert I had there. And then we had these drinks. I don't know what they were called, but it was like absinthe mixed with
Yeah.
a limoncello.
Yeah.
And man, I'm such a lightweight. I got kind of messed up off
I
that.
did
That
too.
was enough to
I
get me
did
pretty
too.
buzzed. But it was delicious. And like you were saying, like there's just a bunch of shops there, so it definitely kind of has that European vibe, you know,
Yeah.
and everyone's just hanging out in
Well,
cafes.
one of our friends kind of said it reminded me of Paris without the
Yeah,
actual like.
any of the crime or dirt or this or
Yeah,
that.
so it was kind of
Yeah,
interesting for him to say that.
yeah. So and it's like Harry Potter, you know,
Yeah.
Paris. And the nice thing is it's like themed food and drinks, right? So like you're not just like only able to get a baguette, right?
Yeah.
So that blew me away. And then I think the ride was pretty good. I think most people say the ride is the best in all of you, like Universal, to be honest. Like, I don't know if I would put it that
I
high.
wouldn't agree with
I
you.
mean, it's the Ministry of Magic ride, and the cool thing is like you go through what is it, the Flumox or whatever,
Yeah.
the Flume Gate. I forget what they're called, but then you have the, like that green dust, which is cool, and then you enter, and man, the queue is just mind blowing. Like,
Yeah.
it's the scale is insane, so they absolutely killed that. But when you're actually doing the ride, like you're basically like it's kind of a moving ride where like you're in one kind of big box and you're
Yeah.
like moving through the area,
And wait, you're with
and
like
it's
15
supposed to
people,
like
16.
encapsulate like being in an elevator moving around, which I think is creative. I think the coolest thing for me is it just shows you how good tech is, where like it was hard to see what was a digital effect and
Yeah.
practical effect because it blurred so much together. Um, but other than that, like I mean, I give it like an 8 out of 10, maybe a 9 out of 10, but it wasn't like mind blowing to me.
To me, it was more mid. I'd give it like a 6.5, 7.
Dang, bro,
Yeah, like
brutal.
again, that ride. I'm glad we didn't have to wait 3 hours
Yeah,
for
if I
that.
rated 3 hours, I'd be kind of upset.
I'd be
So,
upset.
but I know a lot of people really like it. I think if I saw that in isolation, I would have been blown away. But there's other rides that do that better.
Yeah,
Um, and then I guess the last point was the play there was actually pretty
it's
good.
pretty good.
And man, it was so mind blowing because at one point, like the whole stage just goes up and you're
Yeah,
like looking underneath the stage.
yeah. It
And
was trying
it's
to simulate like you going in a basement or
yeah,
something.
so I think because in the movies he has his briefcase, they were like trying to like show creatively what it was like entering the briefcase. So man, they must have spent so much money on that stage.
They did a good job, and then the people dancing and
So
acting.
that was awesome. So I think if you put the food and drinks aside, like that would definitely be a number three for me. But just because I enjoyed the butterbeer crepe so much
It
and that
was
drink,
so good.
like I put that as number two. I guess I'm just a foodie and a fatty, but oh man, it was so good.
The crepe was so amazing.
And so then number three for me, How to Train Your Dragon. You haven't watched those movies,
I
right?
have not watched the movies.
Yeah. So I just binged them. I like them. I'm not crazy
Wait,
about
you
them.
binge them after we came back?
No, no, I binged them before. Like
Okay.
just randomly. It was like a complete coincidence.
Hmm.
I think I was like the live action was coming up, and me and the wife were bored, so we're like, I might as well watch all three of them. And they're good movies.
Yeah.
I don't think they hit the same for me because like I'm not in high school, and I feel like I'm a little out of that age group, but it was good. They were well written, and I can see why people love them. Like I'd give them an 8 out of 10. Like I'd recommend you watch them. I think you'd like them.
Okay.
But man, the actual park, I also feel like they just killed it. Like they had like the Vikings theme throughout. Like you walk in, you have these two statues, and there's like fire in the
Yeah.
mouth, and the food and drinks were awesome. And I like that like there's a lot of like alcohol options. Like you can get mead,
Yeah.
Um,
So they did a good job again at that attract or park or section of the park. But I feel like the one thing I enjoyed the most there was really the play, which again was geared towards kids,
oh
but they
yeah,
did a great job. but the rides itself were just very bare bones. So
Yeah,
you had a ride where you're on a boat and you're just getting splashed with water and you're just shooting a bunch of like wooden
yeah.
targets. And then the other ride we went on, which you're basically simulating flying on a dragon, was super
That
short
was
and
the
it was
worst.
not
I
fast.
guess I like the water ride, maybe
Quite,
because it was just so like hot in Orlando. That was nice cooling
yeah,
down. We didn't have to wait for it. But yeah, I didn't really care for the wing glider. And dude, that's the only ride where the fast pass doesn't work. It
yeah,
doesn't make any sense because that ride is totally skippable.
yeah. So skippable.
I think the roller coaster was pretty good. You know, it wasn't like amazing, right? Like it wasn't like Velocicoaster or anything like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah, but I think it was good. I mean, the thing is, like being from Michigan, like we went to Cedar Point at a young age,
yeah.
so
Yeah.
we've
So
seen
our
like,
level of
yeah, so like we've been to Millennium, we've been to Dragster, and like that's like middle school, high school for us, you know.
yeah,
So I think for most people, they haven't like done the most thrill seeking rides at a young age. For so if I was in middle school or high school, like I think that is the perfect coaster to like work your way towards, right? Like,
yeah.
um, and I thought it was well themed and everything. I thought it was
Yeah,
cool.
but I agree. It was very well themed. Food was interesting. They had this bread with macaroni,
Yeah,
stuffed macaroni. It was like
it's so
interesting.
viral.
Yeah, so viral, and it was not. It's not like it lived up to the hype, but it tasted okay. Like it was interesting, you
Yeah.
know. Um, Again, they had some really good drinking options. The bar they had there was super cool, classic like Vikings esque,
Oh
like
yeah.
you know.
I was just thinking, man, if they made a God of War land, oh dude, there's so much cool
I
stuff you can do with all the Vikings themes.
They would make me pay another $7 for a monster,
I know.
Viking themed
I
monster.
can't believe you spent $7 on that monster. You thought it would be
Insane,
something special.
insane.
But no, that was my third favorite, and then my last favorite, which I bet is probably your second favorite,
Yeah.
was the Monsters Land. It was kind of small, and it really, there's no big monsters movies, but the one ride there was absolutely
It
insane.
was
Well, I guess there
insane.
was two, but the one ride, the Frankenstein ride, oh
Was
my god,
amazing. So the sad thing, and we talked about this while we were there, is they've been trying to greenlit new movies around Frankenstein, werewolf, uh, Dracula, like for many years. And for those that might remember, there was a Mummy reboot with Tom Cruise, and that was supposed to lead into the MonsterVerse with all these other characters, but it never came to fruition. The new Mummy movie flopped; like it just didn't go anywhere. So it's sad because they're really sitting on some really great IP, and they've been retold in stories and books for a
yeah,
long time, decades ago, and it's just like they could definitely bring it back, but they don't have a good vision. So when we went on this ride, it was actually amazing because they were actually telling a very good story. It wasn't
yeah,
like Harry Potter where it was a subsection of a. It almost felt like a subsection of a movie. They were like, oh, that's like a 5 minute
yeah.
scene.
It felt like a whole movie.
Yeah, it felt like a whole movie, and I was like, wow, like Dracula's clearly been captured, and he's trying to be let loose. On top of that, you have Frankenstein, who's actually really the good guy here, but then he has to face off
Yeah.
against the werewolf, and it's like,
I mean, it's such a fascinating like movie idea. Like, I feel like someone pitched that at some point in a Universal meeting, and somehow it got downgraded to being the ride. But
yeah,
it's such a good idea because yeah, like Dr. Frankenstein is trying to control all the monsters,
yeah,
and then like that sets up tension between like the Frankenstein creation and Dracula.
yeah,
And man, like I didn't think I would get like creeped out or scared in a dark ride, and I actually felt uncomfortable
yeah,
and I actually got creeped out.
yeah.
And I was so surprised. And I remember thinking in the back of my head, oh my god, if this ride got stuck
Yeah, I'd be like
here,
legit
I
scared.
would not like that. Like I would feel uncomfortable. Like Dracula's in your face and the
Yeah,
werewolf is trying to kill you
and like the ambience and vibe, like they're playing like a bunch of lightning, a bunch of
oh
like
yeah.
fire. Like you again, like you said, they did a great job of blending between digital assets versus the mechatronics or animatronics. So sometimes I couldn't
Yeah.
tell.
And like obviously it's all fake. Like no, you're not in danger, but
Yeah.
like still like they just passed that threshold of verisimilitude where you're just like, oh man, like oh yeah, this guy
Yeah.
creepy dude.
And on top of it all, they have found the right pace for the actual ride. It was long. It was like
Yeah.
multiple minutes, and it was going super
Yeah.
fast, and you're still
Yeah.
experiencing all this stuff coming at your face. So I'm like, wow, hit on
Just
everything
and so
perfectly.
that's why I think going back to the Harry Potter one, like I just think that the monsters dark ride was just better,
Yeah,
and
just
the tech was better, everything was better. So even though I think the Harry Potter ride, everyone's gonna say it's better and they loved it because it's Harry
it's
Potter.
very
I think objectively, at least for me,
the
like
ride.
the
Yeah,
quality of the ride, the story, the setting, everything, like the monsters ride just killed it
yeah,
for
it
me.
just killed
Like
it.
I think the lead up into the ride was better in Harry Potter, but the
Yeah,
ride
yeah.
itself just killed it.
And
and
we had
monsters.
like, at least for me, I had low expectations. I didn't know what
Oh
to
yeah.
expect coming into the Dark
No, I
Universe like
expected
section.
nothing.
I was
Yeah.
like, oh, what's this? And we walk in, we're like, what
The
the
whole time I
heck?
was like, why did they even make this part of the park? Like, this
Yeah,
is
yeah. It
pointless.
was almost like pointless. Like, what's going on here?
And I guess since we're talking about that, we can also talk about Halloween weekends
Oh yeah,
because there was some gaming related stuff there. So
oh
there was a bunch of haunted houses. There were like 10. We didn't realize how many there
yeah.
was.
And I'm shocked because they hide the stuff near the back
Oh yeah,
entrances of the park, and still amazing because at night, okay, it's not as hot. B, a lot of the workers are dressed up as like really scary people, and the haunted houses are pretty big,
oh yeah,
for the most part. So like,
and there's 10 of them.
yeah, there's 10 of them. Now, granted, I almost kind of wish we had the Fast Pass, but it's okay. We didn't get to
Yeah,
everything. But man, this was like the first time in like, I'm not gonna lie, like in 10 or 15 years where I legit felt like I felt like I was part of the Halloween spirit.
yeah.
Like,
Oh, it was crazy. And honestly, I feel like this has ruined haunted houses for me.
yeah,
Because like if someone hits me up, they're like, "Hey man, you want to Erebus? You want to go somewhere?" I'm
yeah,
gonna
it's
be
just
like,
like,
"I don't know, man," because Halloween weekends just killed it at Universal. Just from the top to the bottom, like the theming was amazing, like the costumes were
yeah,
amazing, and they had like specific food stalls that were set up for some of the movies. So they had like a Fallout section, they had a Five Nights at Freddy's section, and so
yeah,
they had both the haunted house and the food stalls. It's so
yeah. It
creative,
was so
right?
creative.
And then man, they go so overboard. They had like a live concert that was like a rock concert,
Yeah, that was so
and then they had
cool.
this thing called like Club Dread or something, and it was like a
It
club,
like
an
literally
outdoor club.
outdoor club slash rave where a DJ's playing music. He's dressed up as like some like haunted person.
I
A
know,
bunch of girls in
in
costumes, but
costumes,
they're like
dancing on stage.
yeah, dancing
Yeah,
on stage. It was like the most provocative dancing I've ever seen. And everyone's just kind of jamming out in the middle of the park.
I know. It's just like in the middle of Universal, and it's like it's set up so you have to walk by it because you're moving from like one section of the park to the next,
Yeah,
so you have to walk by it. So I was like, man, they really put in so much effort.
yeah,
So I can't even act like, oh, they're just like taking everyone's money and not
yeah,
caring. And then even small details, like they had this like light show at the end, and they basically had like a barrier of mist, and they were projecting light
yeah,
onto it, and it was kind of creepy and kind of cool.
yeah. It was
So
cool.
so
And
they
then,
killed all that
well, on top of all that, walking around the park, everyone's dressed up, and I do feel for the workers because they have to keep doing
oh,
the
yeah.
same thing in a small set
For
area
hours, and they have
for
to keep
hours.
just going up to everyone
Yeah,
and scaring them.
yeah, but it felt great because like some of them try to scare us. One of our friends got scared really
I
bad.
know,
It
I
was
know.
funny. It was hilarious, but it just again reminded me of my childhood. I'm like, this is what I
Oh
remember
yeah,
Halloween being.
oh yeah.
And I don't get scared like that anymore. But I'm like, I don't know. Maybe starting over going forward, I'm gonna start a tradition. Maybe during the Halloween week, we just watch some scary movies, have the lights
Right,
off, and
man.
vibe up.
I almost felt like I was inside of like Wednesday, like.
Yeah, yeah, like that's how it felt.
And I guess we could talk real quickly about the two haunted houses there because they are video game related.
Yeah, Five Nights at
Five
Freddy's.
Nights at Freddy's and Fallout. I mean, honestly, I was a little disappointed in both.
Yeah,
Like,
that
they
was
weren't
fun.
scary, but I think it's because they were so busy there that
Yeah,
they were just trying to move you along.
yeah.
I think thematically, like, they really did a great job. Like,
Especially the Fallout one.
the Fallout one was all based off the TV show,
Yeah,
but they basically told the story of the entire show
yeah, it's kind of crazy.
through, like, the different rooms where they were scaring you.
Yeah, that's cool. And I know Five Nights at Freddy is really like not even cult favorite. It's like really popular,
Oh, yeah.
surprisingly.
It's crazy popular.
You
I
know?
think that one and Jason were, like, the busiest rides.
Yeah, that I definitely wanted to go to Jason
I know,
Terrifier,
couldn't get there.
but yeah, we just were so tired by the end of it. We were like, okay. But the fact that they're open till like 2 or 3 in the morning is insane.
Insane. But I love that people are doing this because honestly, this is a cash cow. Like there's so much money to be made there. Like give us these like actual like immersive like real world
Yeah,
experiences where like we can come and kind of like feel like we're in that world.
yeah,
And there's going to be all these people who are like enjoying the same thing. You might meet people,
yeah,
and just hang
yeah,
out and stuff. And that's nice, bro. Like, and I feel like gamers are always looking for a connection, right? Because like sometimes the actual act of like gaming can be kind of isolated, right?
yeah.
So I feel like they gotta do more of this stuff, man.
Yeah, well, it was funny because that's kind of what happened. We're standing in line for Five Nights at Freddy's. We're watching a football game, and the
Yeah,
person behind us
yeah.
was like,
We just
"Hey, you watching?"
kept
And we just
chatting,
kept chatting with them, and then it was just nice to talk to people. So,
Yeah,
it's really nice to kind of just get together with everyone. When you're kind of doing it isolated or on your own, or you're watching things on your own, like during Halloween, it might not be as fun, but
Yeah.
when you have a lot of people, it just changes the mood. So.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just like sky's the limit, you know. And I love that Universal is doing that because they're like, you know, what else could we have? You know, can you imagine like a Bethesda park? I mean, this is never gonna happen.
Yeah.
Bethesda park, you know, you got some guy shooting arrows at people's arrows at their knees, and you know, big cockroaches everywhere.
Yeah, right.
But and I guess like the last thing I was gonna say is I think Pokemon is gonna be like the next big frontier.
Hope so.
And I was actually looking this up in Universal in Japan. That actually are having like Pokemon parades
Oh,
in the
really?
Universal and like Pokemon themed Halloween and like
Wow.
Pokemon desserts. So definitely, I think that's going to be the next cash
That would be
cow, and they're going to
awesome.
jump on that. So I'm sure at some point Universal is going to have a Poke Park.
Yeah.
Although I wonder if Nintendo is gonna keep going down the Universal train and allow Universal to have like a Poke Park in the Universal Orlando, or if they're just gonna really make their entirely own Pokemon park because they're kind of doing that. They're making that Kanto whatever
They
thing in
are.
Japan.
But the thing is, that's harder because in the U.S. at least, like you have to find just a huge section of land that you can
Yeah,
then get permits to work on. If you partner with
and
Universal,
you don't
everything's
really have all
there.
that experience, you know, and you already
Yeah,
have that working relationship. So, I mean, I don't think they're just. I hope not, you know, because I think the Universal Nintendo collaboration is just a
yeah,
home run,
yeah. I was
and
home
I
run.
think if Nintendo let Universal do a Pokemon park, that would be amazing.
Yeah, that'd be
That'd be
amazing.
killer.
But we also, like we talked about, we could see Zelda too. Zelda's
Oh
getting a
yeah,
live action movie in 2 years.
oh yeah.
We've had Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom. We're probably going to get some remasters real soon, and I think to synergize with that, we'll also get
Yeah.
something at the park too.
So I think that's going to be like the big future, and I love the Universal like Nintendo pairing. I wonder if at some point Sony will jump into things, but who knows? So I think that kind of catches up with some of those things. So I
Yep.
think that's why we're kind of late because we wanted to really talk about Epic Universe
Yep.
because we were so excited about it.
Yeah.
Maybe we can move on to some of the stuff we've been playing.
Yeah.
So Arjun's actually been playing for once, which is amazing to hear.
Yeah, I'm
So
finally forcing myself to set aside time now. So, but I'm just about 50% through Doom. Sorry, put Eternal. I meant Dark Ages. I keep saying Eternal. So yeah, like interesting. Like game is slowly picking up because as you advance through every chapter, you're normally getting a new weapon. I've now got the heavy class weapons, both the grenade launcher and the rocket launcher, and they do this thing where like as you traverse through the map, and it's pretty obvious like you have to constantly backtrack if you want to find open areas, secret areas, stuff like that. But anytime you hit you get through one milestone of defeating a set of enemies, and then you come back to backtrack, then they have a whole new set of enemies. Now, one thing I like that they kind of did here is to make it a challenge is one of the enemies are normally marked with like a little blue indicator, and if you don't defeat them, it keeps spawning a bunch of enemies. So like they force you to kind of defeat that one first and then kind of go through the rest like a barrage. And then on top of all of that, it's like they have certain areas designated now to like upgrade your weapons, which I think the upgrade system is very simplistic. It's nothing crazy. I think they did it better. Like I actually have to, I don't know why I feel like I have to compare this to like when I play God of War Ragnarok, because God of War Ragnarok's like upgrade system for an action game was kind of all over the place, and I don't feel they did a great job. But with Doom, it actually feels great because you can do melee weapons, you have runes, and then you have your actual core weapons that you can upgrade, and some of them synergize really well together. Melee with your weapons, like you can sometimes you lose the effect of a gun because if you melee and you interrupt in between, but then there's an upgrade that says that doesn't happen. So it's like okay, they found different ways to really combine all of this. In terms of story, super super bland and
oh
just
yeah,
like I honestly, when people said it was all right, I was like, okay, there's something there. No, this is like really bad. Like
yeah.
I
Do
can't
you
get
get
over
what I'm
this.
saying? We're like, I'm happy they're going in that direction, but it almost makes me wonder if like they would have been better off not doing the story.
Yeah,
But I'm like overall happy they are doing the story.
it's weird because they probably thought, oh, it's a prequel game, it's canon, but this is the right time to try a story because it's not really like the
Yeah,
third game. But really, I see this as a third game, like the third, like a
yeah,
sequel, not a prequel. So I do feel like that probably is affecting some of the sales because word of mouth was probably weak.
yeah,
Because I can't get over the fact that they're like, he might be stronger than the Doomslayer. Is the Doomslayer just a god?
yeah.
Like
Pretty
I just
much.
don't understand.
He
I
was like a
cannot
god,
comprehend this.
basically. He's
And
basically a
and
god.
if he is a god in this storyline,
He basically kills God. I'm pretty sure in like Doom the Eternal. I haven't played the whole story, but I looked it up. Like
this
the
is ridiculous.
yeah, because
But
if I'm remembering, basically like God, the creator, becomes the devil, and he's like the Prince of Darkness, and you basically kill him in the end.
See, this is a ridiculous thing.
So like, yeah, you're like, very overpowered.
So then, if you expect me as a prequel to have played the second game first to then know that, give me a quick like recap right at the beginning of the game, because to me, I'm playing this as if this is his first venture ever into hell, and it's not.
It is.
It technically is, but like it's like
weird. I know
what you're starting backwards. So
I guess I get what you mean. I mean it didn't feel like that to me because I played all of them, you know. But maybe if you just jump from the first one straight to this, then you're just like, whoa.
Yeah, it's like jarring.
But for me, because I already played the first and second, I just missed the DLC for the second. I was like, okay, I already know this guy's basically a god. He's so powerful. So for me, there was no tension, right? Because I knew that like
he can kill anyone.
I was like, the Doom Slayer is going to kill every single thing, and it's just a matter of time.
And then, did they ever explain? Like, I'm still in the point of the story where they haven't explained this, but where did he come from? Who is he? Where is he from?
It's so
what universe? How does he actually have powers, or is he just physically a brute? Like, I mean,
they do explain a lot of the stuff in Doom Eternal, and then the DLC.
But again, if this is a prequel, you have to merge that in somehow. You can't expect then someone to have played the second game before a prequel.
I mean, I guess if it bothers you,
because canonically it's not.
I get what you. I think if it bothers you, like, then I can get it. But for me, I just knew he was so powerful. I was like, yeah, that's okay. Do I really want to need to know why he's so powerful? Nah, he's just a god.
See, but then to your point as a fan, if that's the case and you've played the first two, then why go through the extra effort of adding all these cutscenes? I think you're right. I think you, as someone who's played the first two games, just want to get straight into it. So let the lore be in like the cards and the background stuff.
Well, I think for them it's like they're moving towards something, right? Like I think this is like a half step, you know, and they're trying to build up in a direction where they're able to have that like gripping story, you know. But you can only tell so much of a gripping story in here because there's no stakes.
Yeah,
you know, like
no stakes.
You know that he's gonna win, right? And that's the problem with every prequel because you already know that there's no danger because you know he survives, right? And the whole time, the whole stakes they're trying to make is, oh, is this demon prince so strong that the demon Doomslayer is not going to be able to beat him? But you already know he beats him, right? You already know. And so I get what you mean, where it makes the story kind of superfluous.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Which is why I like Halo ODST and Halo Reach. It's because they're telling a different story.
They're very side stories.
And they're side stories. And then you go, oh, now there's tension for these characters.
But that's the problem, right? Because like then you're not going to have the same main character. I feel like this is the problem for prequels everywhere.
Yeah, this is a problem. And I think
I can't really think of a prequel series that did things very well. I mean, personally, I know this. Everyone is going to hate me for this. They'll probably unsubscribe, but I really like the prequel Star Wars trilogy.
Oh my god, unsubscribe, people, please. Please unsubscribe.
I don't even know if we have subscribers, but honestly, like, I really like the prequel trilogy, but it's because like you have to have completely different characters that stand on their own, and that's just really hard to do.
It's really hard. I also have one last thing is. Most likely, if I had to guess, they'll probably do DLC for Dark Ages.
Oh, yeah.
And if I had to guess, they'll probably bridge the gap between Dark Ages and into the first game, potentially, right? I would assume, why not do
something like that? I think there's a huge time jump.
Yeah, so then, okay, if that's the case, I'm sure it'll be part of Dark Ages, but then by the time the DLC ends, it'll be like, oh, and this is how he started in Doom 2016. So we'll see how that ends up going, but... overall, I'm going to beat the game. It's worth playing because it's just enjoyable and fun and frenetic. But the story to me is like whatever. So right now I'm at like a 7 for the game.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'd give it like an 8.5. I really like the game. That's because I just love Doom's gameplay. Like I think when I'm like tapped in and I'm like just plugged into like Doom, that feeling you get, like that dopamine hit you get when you're just like destroying these monsters and you're just like moving from one monster to another, like I don't think there's any game that hits it like
no
that.
Other
like
game.
It's almost like it really is like addictive. Like it kind of feels like a drug because it takes you a while to learn how to be good.
Yeah.
But as soon as you're in that flow state, like
once you're learning the reflexes,
it's this like weird balance between like being like high drive, like adrenaline, but also it's kind of like peaceful and zen. It's this weird like flow state that I don't think any other game has done it for me because you can't mess up. But you're also so good at what you're doing that you're just like effortlessly gliding through it.
Yeah, they found a way where it's clear that when you need to like bulldoze your way. You have to like get in their face, the
Yeah,
enemy's face.
you got to
But
be
then
aggressive.
but then when they're surrounding you, you have to actually get out and move and start on
Mhm.
the get on the run, because then they swarm you.
Oh yeah,
And
and then
then
when they're
the
hitting you from behind, you're dead.
yeah. So like it's a good balance. So they go in and then pull out, go in, pull out. And
Yeah.
it's like, okay. No, did he? That was kind of weird for me saying that. But overall, that's my impression. I'm gonna play because the gameplay's still
Yeah, you should
satisfying.
beat it, man. And then I don't know, maybe you can actually play Doom Eternal too.
Yeah.
I think out of the three, Doom is still my favorite, the original. I think the best gameplay is probably Doom Eternal. So probably my rankings are Doom 2016, then Doom Eternal,
Which is what
then
most people
Dark
say.
Ages, which I think is most people says. But for me, like it's not that drastic of a drop off. Like the difference is like between a 9.5 to like an 8.5,
Yeah.
so I think they're all good games. It's just like different relatives of good.
Yeah. Well,
So
one is great, maybe one is good. I don't
okay,
know.
sure, if you want to use great versus good, but according to all the gaming sites, good is a 7. So
Oh yeah, that's also true.
okay, and I guess I can tell everyone about what I've been playing. So I have been jumping back and forth between Hollow Knight, Silk Song, and Borderlands 4.
Mhm.
So Hollow Knight Silk Song, when I first started playing it, I really didn't understand what the hype was about. And I was like, yeah, I don't know why everyone's going on and on about the game.
Okay.
I'm fairly far in. I think I'm near the end of Act 1. Not there yet, but I have like 2 sub levels and then I'm done with it.
Okay.
Um, so overall impressions, I get why people like it. I still think it's overhyped,
Okay.
but I definitely get why people like it. Outside of Metroid Dread, which I think the Metroidvanias are probably going to be the best. Like Metroid and Castlevania are going to be the best Metroidvanias.
Yeah.
But I would say right underneath it for me is Ori, and then right underneath Ori is Hollow Knight.
Okay.
Hollow Knight is so much better than I expected. I think the beginning for me really dragged because it was artificially difficult because you can't move quickly. And so the whole game is about your placement. And then it gets really frustrating because if your character overlaps even like a nanometer with
You-
another character, you get damaged,
Oh yeah.
which is really annoying because you can't really move that quickly. So a lot of it is your pre placement before you attack, and it's just like a different way of playing. It feels a lot slower and more methodical, and I just was not about that. Like for me, it's like you go from like Black Myth Wukong to like Hollow Knight,
Yeah.
and it just feels like, oh my god, I need to move faster. And I liked Ori better because later you're like moving quickly in Ori, you're stringing stuff. Now I'm far enough in that I got the ability to dash, and I think that is a game changer for me. Like when you're able to dash and then kind of glide slowly, I think that really changes the flow of the gameplay, and it actually opens it up to more variety. Because otherwise, I was like, I don't get why people say this game is hard because you can literally cheese every insect. Like you literally piss it off, you run away, and then you just do the same frame where you hit it back up, hit it back up.
Oh.
So I was like, it's just slow and methodical, and like I'm like a robot. It's not really giving me any creativity in how to uh, challenge or defeat the monsters, right? But later, I think as you get some of those other abilities, like you have a little bit more creative flexibility in how you attack the monsters. But overall, like it's not like I have a huge repertoire of different attack moves. It's really just like an attack forward and then like a jump attack and an attack up. So that part's a little stale. The monster variety is good. So I think from a gameplay perspective, those things are good. Probably I'd give this game like an 8.5 as well.
Okay.
Maybe an 8. I'll probably beat it. It's a surprisingly meaty game,
Okay.
and I think originally when I started playing it, I was like, yeah, I don't know if I'd pay more than like 20-30 bucks for this.
Okay.
But now that I'm far enough in, like, yeah, I think this game is worth like 40-50 bucks.
Which is
So
funny because you paid $20 for it.
well, I paid nothing.
Well, Game Pass.
Well, Game Pass.
Well, you paid some.
I paid something, but I would have had Game Pass regardless.
Yeah.
You know. Um,
But imagine a first-time user; they could pay
Yeah.
$15 right now to
Oh, yeah.
play.
Yeah, I mean, if you're buying this for 15-20 bucks, like, yeah, that's an absolute steal. Because I think the actual value of the game, like, you can argue this is worth 50 bucks, right?
Crazy.
Yeah. So I think that's why I feel like the low price actually made it really go viral. But again, I think from like the actual standpoint of the game, like there's a lot to like about like Hollow Knight Silksong, but I'm just not sold about it the same way everybody else is. So
Okay.
and I think maybe that opinion will change when I have more flexibility in my like attack patterns, but right now, like it just gets a little repetitive to like, stand there, wait until he's like
Yeah.
2 inches from me, then strike, then walk away, strike, walk
Yeah.
away, strike, walk away. Like I'm like, am I playing a PS2 game? Like,
Right, right. Yeah, I mean, to talk about this a little tangentially again is, the developers of Hell Is Us, which is an indie game that just came out, basically said that, it was very callous of the Hollow Knight developers to release their game and quote unquote shadow drop it, which, in my opinion, this wasn't shadow drop. This was announced 2 weeks before it was released. A shadow drop to me truly is the day of you announce it. And they basically said that, like, it's unfair that the GTA of indie games could do something like this because it's unfair for them to then be able to release a game that's not going to do as well or just get completely overshadowed. I mean, personally, even though you're describing the game the way you are, clearly has a following from the first one. So yeah, of course, people are probably going to buy that
I
over
mean,
Hell's
I
Us.
get what
But
Hell Is Us is saying, and that does feel kind of unfair because, like, if you're looking at your market competitors, like, to try and plan your release date around an unknown, yeah, that kind of sucks,
of
like, because
course,
it is kind of the GTA of indie games, but at the same time, like, they earned that,
they earned it.
like, it's not like Hollow Knight was a known commodity right
Yeah,
before it came out, and if Hell Is Us was, not to talk smack, but if it was on the same quality level and it developed the same cult following, right?
yeah,
People wouldn't be saying, "Oh man, like it's getting overshadowed." They would say, "Oh man, like we just got Oblivion and Clear Obscure at the
yeah,
same time,"
exactly.
right? So it does suck. I empathize and
Yeah,
feel
I
bad for the
empathize.
team because yeah, like if you're indie and this is not your best project, but like you're learning, right? To just get that dropped right there, yeah, that sucks. You also had a couple of warning signs
Yeah, you
because
legitimately.
Microsoft did kind of show off that it was going to be
Yeah,
out on the ROG Xbox Ally X.
yeah,
So you knew it was going to be around these 3 month window,
yeah. You kind of knew that.
but I mean I get it. Like I would be pretty pissed if I released my game and I'm like the ending darling for the month, and then 2 days later I found out Hollow Knight Silk Song is coming out in 2 weeks. I'd be
Well,
kind of pissed.
they also kind of mentioned like, oh, if we had known earlier, we would have tried to plan and maybe move our release date. But you know what? I don't even know if that would have made a difference, even if you moved it up a 1 month, 2 weeks, three
I mean, I
weeks.
do think it would have made some of a difference. Like, I think there is an argument to be made with them, but like, I mean, that's just the nature of the industry,
Yeah, it's nature of
Like,
the industry.
if you're not going up against Hollow Knight, like, you're going up against all the games that are getting jam packed to avoid GTA 6.
So that's another thing. So Bloomberg just wrote a pretty big article about how we're oversaturated with video games now in 2025. Like there's just too many games that get released too often, and even Hell Is Us developer said you used to be able to release a game during the August timeframe with no competition
Yeah.
10 years ago, but you can't do that because there's constantly flood or
Yeah, I
influx of
think every
games.
single month there's like something,
Yeah. So it's like, to me, like, again, it's one thing to talk about that and say it, but no matter when you release your game, there's always going to be something else right around the corner. Ghost of Yotime, Borderlands. Like, Borderlands literally in September.
No,
Like,
there's
all these
always going to
different
be
games.
one big game of the month to like steal away the consumer's
Yeah.
dollars. And I mean, I feel bad for the team. And from what I'm hearing about Halazas, it was a pretty creative game. A
Yeah,
lot of people
creative.
really liked it, but I mean, that's just the nature of the
Yeah.
beast that you're in.
Yeah.
Sometimes you get lucky with your release dates.
Yep. And
Sometimes you
sometimes
get
it's,
screwed.
you're screwed.
You know.
And it's a risk. Anytime you release a game, no matter when it is, you can plan as much as you want. The risk of creating a game with as an unknown IP, hoping that it's going
Yeah.
to make you a bunch of money, that's a huge gamble.
Yeah.
So
I mean, I don't know if studios can do this, but I feel like that's why a lot of times, like, you got to have your next creative project, like,
lined up.
cocked and ready to go.
Yeah.
It's like,
No
okay,
giddy.
I'm moving into the, I'm moving into the final phase of polishing up. Like, who can I move from this project to like the
Yeah.
pre-development phase, the pre-planning phase, so it's just like a smooth transition.
Yep.
And I think the studios that really succeed, they know how to do that.
Which
Like Obsidian,
Insomniac.
Insomniac, it's like you know that hey, this project is winding up.
Yeah.
So let's not do the thing where we like fire 100 people and then
Yeah.
rehire
Rehire.
100 people, just because we have not planned our pre-development cycle,
Right.
right? Like line it up so as you're,
Ramping down
ramping
on
down
one.
on
You're
one, you're
ramping up.
ramping up at the same time,
Yeah.
because if not, then you're going to be in this in between zone where
Yeah.
you have to let people create the vision of the game so other people can make the
Yeah.
game.
Which is funny because that's what we saw with Halo, right?
Yeah.
And that's why they were constantly in
That's
disarray.
that's why I was upset at Microsoft for canceling, not to pick at old wounds, like Bethesda Online, because
Yeah.
it's like that was how you do it. It's like you're, winding down, maybe not, but like shifting focus away from Elder Scroll like online. Like you're still releasing like crazy update after crazy update, and arguably they're actually speeding things up.
Yeah.
But I would imagine it's built on a bunch of old assets.
Yeah.
So like now you can shift some of the workers off of that to your next project. It's already like a year into like pre-development, if not more,
Yeah.
right? The concept has been there for years. That's how you smoothly transition from one project to another.
Yeah, 100%.
So as opposed to other people, it's like, oh, I got this great idea for Everwild, and then it's just like stuck in pre-development for years because like you have a good concept, you have a good pitch, but you haven't actually pre-developed.
Yeah.
You haven't done any of the world building, the gameplay mechanics, none of that stuff. You just have a pitch,
Yeah.
And then what happens is people take this pitch and they make a cool trailer off of it, but they actually haven't fleshed anything out.
And it's like what's it called? It's called a scope creep. So then you go, hey, I have a great idea at its core, and then it keeps growing and growing and growing. It's like you need to eventually prove it out with a demo or a prototype, because if you don't do that, guess what? You're not going to know what's feasible to like release, and then you get like this, and then you don't know where to chop, and then people.
And I think that's like what's killing like the video game industry, because this is just my speculation, But back when it was like PS1, PS2, maybe even PS3, like projects weren't that expensive, they weren't that resource intensive, they didn't take that long to do. So if your timeline wasn't like 100% set, it was fine, because it was like y'all just figuring it out and doing what's good and what's fun. But now like the expectations have risen so high that like good is no longer good. Like, you're seeing games that are getting like sevens now that used to get nines. Like people are like, hey, why are you giving Ghost of Yota an A? And you're saying it's better than Ghost of Tsushima in every way. How is the scoring less? And it's like, well, every year the bar gets raised. So that's why a game now that's a 7 would have been a 10 5 years ago,
That's
right?
true.
So that's a part of it. And then now the development cycle is harder. And so like you're spending so much time in different phases that unless you have like a good vision on like how you're going to move between projects, like you're screwed, man. And your game is going to go from 3 years to like 6 years.
Yeah, and on top of it, you almost have to like plan a game that has that much development time to have to be a sequel. Like if you go, okay, if I'm investing 6 years into a game, like for example, like God of War 2018, 2019, whenever it came out, they're like, they knew that they put so much time and effort into bringing that back. They're like, oh, we're just going to reuse not the assets, but reuse this platform.
I mean, like if the writers have finished the whole game, like shouldn't they start on the second game as everyone is building the first game?
Yeah, exactly.
And like,
but compare that to now the example you gave, Uncharted 1, 2, and 3 all came out 2 years apart. But somehow, here's the craziest thing. This was a PS3 era. You got Uncharted 1, which was good, but it wasn't fleshed out. It felt like a prototype. Uncharted 2 was the most amazing game I had ever played.
Because I feel like what happened is, and this is totally my speculation, but like having done some creative work, I feel like at a certain point in your project, you have to decide, am I going back and fixing everything that I know is wrong? Or am I just going to deliver it and then do it for the next one? So I feel like that's what they must have done. They're like, all right, we're almost done. We're 60% through. But honestly, like we should have made the combat better in this way. We should have done the storytelling better in this way. Let's already have that envisioned for Uncharted 2 and then Uncharted 3.
Which is why like the jump from 1 to 2 felt so substantial. They just took it to a whole new level. And then 2 to 3 is also a pretty big jump.
Because like you're learning through the process of creating, right? And so that's why for me, I have not been able to polish anything, because by the time I get 50% of the way through my novel, I've learned so much about myself as a writer and also the universe I'm creating. I'm like, crap, I want to restart. And then I restart and I'm like, oh, this is objectively better. But then it's like I'm always only getting to 40%, maybe 70%, and then by that time I've grown so much. And I think that's what that's happening to these studios.
Yeah, that's what happens, and they can't finish because they want to go back and touch up so much more, and they can't. So that's.
So, anyways, we went on a total aside, but going back to Hollow Knight, I'll keep playing it. There's just so much stuff on the horizon that I think Hollow Knight, and this sounds crazy to say, but Hollow Knight's my chill game to play. So I don't know. I just feel like I die a lot. Like it is hard. Like don't get me wrong. Like I'm having a hard time, but it also feels kind of like zen to me. Like as opposed to like when I'm playing like Lies of P. Like I'm just dialed in all the way. And then I got into Borderlands 4, and I've never been into Borderlands, and I actually really like Borderlands 4.
Nani?
It feels to me like like Destiny, but like
Yeah,
kind
that's
of
what
a
people are
better
saying.
Destiny, you
Though,
know?
because especially because of the new movement
Yeah,
mechanics.
the movement is amazing, and the guns feel so good. They
Okay,
feel so different, and then when you activate a power, it feels just like you're using a Destiny
that's
ability.
so funny.
I have the class which basically makes me feel like a hunter, you know, because I have like the ninja like blades and
Oh,
stuff,
okay, okay.
and oh man, like they did a great job, you know. I mean, the story's laughable, right? Of like, but what do you expect, you know?
Yeah.
And it's kind of kiddie-ish at times, but what do you expect, you know? But I think what they need to nail the gameplay system, the loot progression, like I think they did a great job.
Okay.
So
So interesting. How many
um,
hours are you in?
maybe 5 hours,
Oh, wow, that's actually a lot, right?
3 hours. And yeah, it's a decent amount. Like I think I like games like that, and I'm able to finish games where I can just sit down, play for like 45 minutes,
Yeah.
and then just go. You know,
Just,
and it's
yeah.
like, oh, go track this random person and kill him.
Yeah.
Okay, might as well. Boom,
Yeah.
boom, boom, boom.
That's a game where I actually like the little checklist of things to do.
Yeah, that's what everyone is saying, and so and I think a part of it is just that like loot progression is nice because a lot of games like you'll get a new gun and it'll just be like some sort of stat difference and it
Hmm.
doesn't actually like give you this feedback that oh I'm using a different gun, but like you know with Borderlands like when you get a gun that actually shoots way differently than another, like you immediately feel it, you know,
Okay.
like completely changes the flow. So
That's good. Are you noticing the performance issues that people are
yeah,
having?
there's some. I mean, it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Like,
Okay.
there's some like frame rate drops and hitches and stuff like that. But I guess I just have. There's been so many games that have let me down. Borderlands doesn't seem that bad,
That's
you know.
surprising then because but
You know,
people.
like for instance, like I played Black Myth Wukong and everyone loved that game, but like the performance would really suck sometimes,
Okay.
right? And for that one, if the performance drops, I'm dying. But in Borderlands, if the performance drops, I'm fine.
Okay.
You know,
Okay.
so
That's good.
so I don't mind. So that's been a good experience. I guess we can move on to some of the stuff we've been watching before we get into the big news because there's a lot of big news to talk
Yeah.
about. So I want to make sure we dedicate a lot of time for that. So I think the main thing I wanted to chat with you about is Aliens Earth.
Yeah.
Watched it all on the plane, and I know you just caught up too. Is that your impression?
But yeah, that's my Wendy's talking to alien
Yeah.
friend.
So this one I have a lot of mixed feelings about. There's a
So do
lot of
I.
things I really like, and a lot of things I do not like.
Yeah.
And
Same.
so it's like if some of the parts are like a 10 out of for me or a 9, like a 9, and other parts are like a 6. It averages out somewhere in the middle for me,
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
a
Same.
7, 7.5.
Yeah. I think like the showrunner, the director, what's his name? Noah Haley, or was
I
he?
have no
I forget
idea.
his name. He's pretty popular, famous. They did a good job highlighting these aliens. Like legitimately, like they made them feel very
Oh
interesting.
yeah.
Obviously, the eyeball is probably like the most
Stole
interesting
the
one.
complete show, bro.
Yeah,
Everyone I've talked to who's watched Aliens Earth, they
yeah,
think the eyeball is just the creepiest, coolest invention.
yeah. And it's like it's funny because it's called Alien, and it's like you would think it's be just about the xenomorph and the face hugger, but no, like it's
No.
about a bunch of
Oh
aliens.
yeah.
And so again, I didn't realize. I guess the show really isn't canonical. So whatever they're
Oh.
doing with it, yeah, it's like maybe its own thing. But I'm okay with that. They've been telling the alien story for decades now. I think in terms of writing, like the main character, like she is really portraying a child. She really is a
Yeah.
child, but she's like the oldest of all the children.
Yeah.
And I like the way the all the synths were portraying themselves because they're still learning, right? And I liked the people from Yutani, especially the chief security officer, who's like trying to like right the ship. He's like, my life's work is all the stuff we captured in deep space, so I'm gonna get it back. And then by the end of it, I was just like not satisfied with it because it's like, okay, you like as the sense you decided you're gonna take over, you're just gonna do your own thing, and you're gonna coexist with some of the aliens, but you just lock everyone up and that's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it just felt anticlimactic
It
for
was
a way
very
where like
anticlimactic.
and I think if I'm trying to understand what went wrong, like the show was kind of giving me these like unspoken expectations and making these promises that like there would be a big payoff and there wasn't. Like the eyeball thing really didn't go anywhere,
Yeah, until
right?
the end.
Yeah, spoilers, but like he goes into like a dead body and but it doesn't line up because at a certain point like the boy genius is like oh my god what if the eyeball goes into a person how smart will it be what if I
Yeah,
have a conversation with him so you are thinking that's going to happen and you're wondering oh is he going to feed one of his lackeys to this thing but then
yeah,
that never happens but when you think about it the eyeball thing did go into a human in the flashback
yeah, and he couldn't talk.
and it was the
It was
stupidest thing.
feral.
Yeah, it was feral, and he was just like, I'm gonna try and bite the xenomorph.
Yeah, it was like dumb.
And I was like, okay, the xenomorph is made of steel. You're a human being. How would you ever do damage to it with your teeth?
Yeah, like that
And
was
I was
dumb.
like, but then the show is promising me that, like, oh my god, if this eyeball goes into a human,
It could
it
be
is game
yeah,
over. It is
because
cataclysmic.
and the way they try to prove it to was like pi 3.14.
I know.
What comes
It
after
was just
four?
a host. And then it's like, okay, all right, that's cool. Maybe we'd get like this badass conversation at the end, which I was hoping for. But then it doesn't line up with the flashback, so
Yeah,
it's just poor
that's poor
writing.
writing.
So even though I thought the eyeball thing was so
It
cool,
was so cool,
and but they had all this foreshadowing,
and it let it down.
went nowhere.
Yeah,
And that was one of the most interesting like threads of the whole
yeah.
story.
Unless if you do a season two, it has to start immediately as it being the antagonist. You cannot build it up after 5 episodes of season two starting and be like,
Yeah,
finally, I'm
and
the
then
mastermind.
yeah, and then I didn't also think the kind of the payoff between the synths and the boy genius was good,
It was
because it's
not.
like what we're basically seeing is like the boy genius is bad, the synths are taking being taken advantage of, and so normally what you would expect is like a big payoff where you're like, hey, you always treated us like this, and now you see we're the ones in control,
Yeah,
right? That's what the story was trying to sell. It's like a really like time and true like thing, right? Like rising up, right? But this one didn't work because to me, the boy genius is right. Like
yeah,
the synths should not be trusted
yeah,
at all. So like you're telling two different stories. You're telling the story of the synths being untrustworthy like a Terminator,
yeah,
and then you're telling the story of the synths being like humans who are being taken advantage of and they need to rise up.
yeah.
And those are
Identity
and
crisis,
those are
almost like
clashing, right? And
yeah,
so because of that, like, and I get the point that you want us to have that dissonance, but it just makes the ending so anticlimactic. And then the physical thing, the best thing you can come up with is just leaving them in a cage. I guess
yeah.
thematically, oh, we've caged you. But like
Yeah,
that's so
that was
simplistic,
so
dude. Like,
simplistic.
oh
And then there's another big reveal. So it's like, on top of all of it, he comes into the little cage where he has all of them locked up, or he thinks he has them locked up. They unlock that door and they're like, "Come in, tell us the story, John." And he goes, "Well, when I was young and I had,
yeah,
I had my father, my
yeah,
synth basically took care of him, and he took me away." And then you find out the synth is this bald headed
yeah.
dude who's this
So I like
executive,
that.
and I like that. And then anticlimactic because you think he's just gonna pound
Oh yeah.
everyone to dust, and then just like
Yeah.
that, Wendy's like, "Nope."
Yeah. So that's the thing. It's like power scaling, and I think so many people do this wrong. But it's like that instantly kills the tension,
Yeah,
and so there there was so much tension built into that show because I was like, I know she killed one of the xenomorphs, but I don't know, the xenomorphs are still really dangerous, so there's like a danger element. Then laterally, it became the most obedient puppy.
yeah,
Like dogs are not as obedient as the xenomorph,
yeah.
and
Like that was
I was like,
weird.
what? So she has complete control of the dog, like the xenomorph.
Yeah, it completely
Then
picks up how to
and then
speak to
she
them.
has complete control of all the tech, including the synth, who they built up to be dangerous.
Yeah,
So there's no real climactic battle at the end. She's just like speeding through
yeah.
everything.
She was just basically gripping with the fact on what decision to make, whether to support her brother, whether to support
But it
the.
was so stupid because
the well, that's the other thing. She basically kept thinking, "Oh, I should just do what the rich boy smart wonder boy dude wants me to do," and then finally realizes like he's not a good guy. It's like you were blindly following them, and I get
yeah.
it. You're a kid,
But then
but
you have like no capacity for self reflection. Like, yeah, this was poor decision making on my fault. Yeah.
well, they also try to show that like she's no longer a kid. So
Yeah.
even though she's a kid in a synth body, they also kept saying how, hey, you're not a kid anymore, you're an adult, and she finally accepts that she
Yeah.
goes, I am an adult, even though her mind isn't.
Which I think is like a good character arc,
Yeah,
but she's not though,
yeah,
because
she's
like you
not.
don't actually
Her
see her
brain's not
acting
developed.
like an adult.
Yeah,
And so it's like, oh, now she thinks she's an adult, and that's supposed to be the character arc,
yeah,
but she's still an adult.
she's
Well,
not.
she's still a child.
Her mind is
And so it
literally
would be
that of a
one thing
child.
if she's like realizes, oh no, like I need to be an adult because I'm an adult body,
Yeah,
right? And then she starts acting like an
yeah,
adult. But if anything, she acts even more childish.
yeah.
So I get like maybe the show is trying to make a point of this, like this is what the show is selling, but like because of that, it's just like
She
not a
kind
really fulfilling ending.
Yeah, and she did feel a little one dimensional, like not
Yeah,
completely, but because of that arc, it just felt
and
one
and it's
dimensional.
so stupid to me that like she is. like the show sets her up to be a really like thoughtful person when all the other kids are stupid and impulsive.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like she sees her friend, not even friend, another synth just killing everybody.
Yeah.
And she's like, why did you tase her?
Yeah. It's like, dude,
What?
she's
And
going
I
psychotic.
understand the show is showing that like, oh, she was like projecting and like, oh, she thought she was in danger because now the person she loved, her brother would, try and hurt a synth. So, oh, would my brother try and hurt me?
Yeah.
That's such a stupid thing. This brother will never try and hurt you.
Yeah.
Right?
Let's go back to that too. So when you said earlier about the boy wonder, boy genius, he's like talking to the eye, and he's like, well, if I put you in a human body, like this could be crazy. And he literally has a guard in the room, and he goes, no, I can't put you in someone smart because that might be a problem. So what does he do? He goes to look for the brother of all people. You think the brother was the dumbest person there? He's literally a medic. You have to be smart to be a medic. And you think what? Because he made some dumb decisions that he's just aloof? You couldn't take anyone
And also,
else?
why would you do that? Like, you literally have guards that
Yeah.
will do anything
They'll
you
do.
want.
Get a guard.
You are like a super trillionaire. Like,
Yeah.
it's just so idiotic. And he's like, I get the show is trying to subvert expectations. Like, that's the whole show. But like, dude, you cannot set expectations and subvert all of them. He's a boy genius, but you make him an idiot.
Yeah.
She is like a woman child, woman child. But then like, you can't decide on what she is. And I know that's what you're selling, but like at a certain time, subverting all of those expectations will like annoy your audience because
Yeah.
it's like, dude, like you're building things up and there's no payoff. Like it just feels anticlimactic.
I almost like kind of wiped out the last episode from my mind. Like leading up to everything up to episode 7 was good. And again, the promise of the eye potentially going into a human and talking,
Yeah.
right, and conversating. But after that, once episode 8 came,
I mean,
was
what
like,
else do you have to
just
look
fully
for? Because like, I'm not scared of the xenomorph, right?
Yeah.
All I'm gonna see is the synth taking over the world, which is a story I've honestly read a million times.
Well, that's not the whole thing, right? So now we know that the new Predator Badlands movie that's coming out in November, Yutani Corporation goes to that planet where the Predator is. So maybe they do a full tie-in. I don't know if it's a huge time skip or not, but Yutani is clearly part of the.
But that doesn't really fix the problem because it's like now you're just like setting up a random opponent,
Yeah.
and you're not actually fixing the problems from your first show, right?
Yeah, but my point is like, are they creating a bigger universe, right? I don't know.
But that's the thing, it's like the Halo thing. Like, hey, this isn't working. Let's make the Banished. This isn't working. It's like you got rid of the threat in Aliens Earth by making the xenomorph a puppy. And so like, what am I watching Aliens Earth for? Because the xenomorph is the whole draw, and it's a puppy.
Yeah, and again, maybe a little controversial that he went with a different antagonist and this eye thing. But like I said, if they're going to do a second season, if it gets greenlit, they have to start immediately with the eye being the actual antagonist, and it can't just be this thing that comes in very late into the second season.
Yeah.
Otherwise, the payoff, like you said in season 1, is just horrible.
Yeah, I have no idea who the antagonist is going to be. So I'm really, really curious to see where the second season will go because I have no idea where they can go. They can literally go in so many different directions. I don't even know what they're going to do.
Also, how would that alien monster know what pi is? Like, even if you say pi 3.14, like how does it just know that? Especially if it was in deep space and never experienced any other.
So human. I think like what it's trying to get across is like the fundamental understanding of what a circle is supposed to be. Like that is something that any advanced civilization would know, because in order for them to have really any physics or anything, they would have to have discovered mathematics.
Sure.
So like they're basically saying that like the one constant across the entire like universe would have to be mathematics, because in order to do anything you have to learn math, which is actually kind of clever.
It's kind of clever,
but then at the same time, like, why would this sheep know what a circle is?
Yeah, why would I know what
they would never call it a circle?
Yeah, exactly.
And like
that's one. And then even if you arbitrarily set 3.14, how can you then expect me to know exactly? It's so arbitrary.
You cannot convince me that
foreign species.
The sheep is smart enough to be able to translate circle into the circle and then think of its own mathematics and know what pi is and then know what the numbers are, and
then
that's how smart the sheep is.
yeah,
But when the eye went into a human being,
it was so
he was so
retarded.
stupid. He
Yeah.
tried to bite the
Yeah,
xenomorph.
yeah. Like you can't. There's
Like,
such. Wait, wait.
how
So
are you gonna convince me of
wait. So are
this?
you telling me the sheep's brain was
It's not
has a high IQ than the
than
human?
the human.
And then maybe that makes sense because the human was just a mechanic. But like, bro,
Bro, I
like
was like, hey,
like,
don't hate on mechanics, bro.
like I was so
Bro, I so that's what I mean. Like, what are you doing?
yeah.
So this Aliens to Earth is just a show of highs and lows. It
Yeah.
really is. It's worth watching, but just highs and lows.
Yeah, highs and lows.
So okay, I mean, do you want to just move on to some of the breaking news?
Yeah. Let's do that.
All right, so I guess we can start off with the one that just broke right now. It might not be the most interesting out of the things to talk about, but it's the newest. EA gets bought out. So
Yeah,
what was it, 50 billion?
Yeah, something like that. 55 billion is what they're 56 billion is what they're looking at. But a group or a collection of different investors, they're going private essentially, and part of it includes the Saudi government, Jared Kushner's group, or a group that he owns, and then another third firm, investment firm.
Yeah. How do you feel about it?
Yeah, man, I don't know. It could go either way. A lot of times when you privatize a bunch of companies, a lot of them just suck the money out of those companies and then they leave them high and dry. Now with EA, and you have to assume that, like, and we talked about this earlier, is that if Saudi's actually doing this and trying to diversify their assets, it's because they think that they're not going to have their oil one day, and they want to then sustain a company like EA, especially if you're putting in $30 billion.
The Saudi government is thinking long term, dude. They're like getting the U.S. sports. They're getting into, video gaming.
Yeah.
Like they're thinking like 40, 50 years out because oil is not going to, be any less popular anytime soon. So, which is the one nice thing I will say, like for as much hate as the Saudi government gets, right? Which, I don't blame them, entirely. But it's nice to actually have someone who's thinking long term. Like they're not like looking at a tech company that's just trying to squeeze out a profit for a year to make some people happy. Like the Saudi government is not going to take money away from oil, which is like super lucrative, to like a video game that they're just going to try and make it a thing for a year.
Yeah, which is not the case. But obviously, this will lead to a couple of things. One is at some point in time, I'm sure there'll be restructures, layoffs, etc. So first, just in general, those are side effects of like a deal like this. The second is like, will this make EA, who is already really into the whole microtransaction trend since the last decade, really go even harder and make a bunch of their games free to play? Like there's already been comments about how the Saudi government thinks that a lot of the free to play games are the most enticing to them. So they could now turn FIFA, they can now turn all the EA sports games, everything
I think
free to play.
One of the big things this is revolving around, like, is Battlefield. It cannot be a coincidence that Battlefield is popping off. We're hearing rumors about Battlefield's plans to annualize, and now all of a sudden we get $50 billion. Like $55 billion. Like I think the Saudi government was like, hey man, like we are gonna basically have the Call of Duty like competitor, and like what incentive did EA have to privatize? Unless they needed money, and why would they need that much money? It must be because they're trying to make a big move, right? I think they're really gonna try and like they're just gonna copy what Activision is doing with Call of Duty, annualize it, because I think EA has been like so annoyed at the Call of Duty success. They probably think Battlefield is just as good, and it's just bad timing or a shame that it's never been able to keep up. And I think right now, I don't know if this is true. I think most of the internet will say it is. They're smelling weakness with Call of Duty, and now they're like, this is when we get our market share. This is when we double down.
On top of all that, you're not beholden to shareholders anymore. And honestly, maybe this is not a bad thing. If you get annualized Battlefield that's high quality for the most part. Now, most of the previews recently said that single player was not good.
Really?
Yeah, there's been recent.
I did not know that. I was actually looking forward to that.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll see. I mean, Jeff, what's his name? I forgot his last name. Jeff and a couple other people said, "Hey, we're basically hearing like we played it a bit. I think this is gonna be the weakest aspect of the game, but." Put that aside, I think you're going to now get Battlefield for years to come. I think you get FIFA for, or not FIFA, but whatever they call it now, the new soccer game.
I mean, they're making it for years to come, but I think they're going to try and move into those like money makers. And I mean, I get mixed. I have mixed feelings. Like, do I like how spread out Battlefield has been? No, because If one of those, the problem is if one of those games fail, then you are waiting like 10 years for a good Battlefield.
Yeah.
Which is like the Halo problem. One game fails, you're waiting 10 years,
Yeah.
right? So then you always have to be good, and it's if I just don't trust EA or Activision to always be good.
Well,
Like, can you imagine if you had to wait like 4 or 5 years for Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, and then
well,
you have to wait another 4 or 5 years?
I mean, I'm already going through that with Gears, so
Yeah, but that's the thing. Like when you get annualized, like if one fails, okay, next one, let's
Yeah.
go. So that's good, but at the same time, like it's not sustainable because after like 4 years of that, people are
you
like
get burnt out.
burnt out. I think the best is like a 2 year cycle. Honestly,
Yeah, probably. I mean, again, the other thing is, will this move allow EA to still be a little creative? So, like Hazelight Studios and BioWare, are they going to be able to continue making games, or will they be able to open
oh,
new
I didn't even think
studios?
about it, bro. You know they're about to axe Bioware, bro.
Yeah, like at BioWare, I think would be
I
actually.
mean, I
Did I not say?
I know.
Did I not say
I
that?
give you credit. I mean, I'm still holding out hope because I love Bioware, and I hope they use that money to infuse and just let Bioware
Maybe they
do
do.
Bioware,
Maybe
and
they
then
do.
maybe the. I think if you just let Bioware do Bioware without all the BS, I think Bioware is not going to be like towards the consistency of Obsidian, but I think they can get back to their glory days. Like
Yeah, it's possible.
I mean, I don't think people agree with me, but I think Dragon Age Veilguard was not a perfect game, but it was a good game, and it could have been a very good game if the development cycle just was not messed up for it from the
Yeah.
start. But after you've reimagined a product like 10 times, like there's no way it's gonna feel cohesive, you
Yeah.
know. And so I think if they just didn't force them to do Anthem and they just let do Bioware things, like they would have done good.
Yeah. So they have a chance where they'll let them play it out, but I guess over under. Like, do you think they release Mass Effect?
Oh yeah, I mean I think they would release Mass Effect and they would axe it.
I'm gonna go that they don't.
You think so?
Yeah.
I don't know, man, because there's already a TV show in the works.
Is there?
Yeah, so I just think like at this point like the name recognition is so important. Like, it's more valuable to keep the name recognition alive than just axe it,
Okay.
Because, like, here's the thing: like, if you axe it, then like it's been so long since Mass Effect. We're in a new generation of gamers. If you miss that, and then what are you gonna do? You're gonna bring it back like 30 years later,
Yeah.
Then people are gonna think it's a fossil. But like, if you release Mass Effect, even if it fails, right? Like, you
It's
still
still relevant.
have relevance,
Yeah.
and then you could still consider doing another project.
Yeah. It's true.
Otherwise, if you shelf Mass Effect now, like you are accepting that Mass Effect is not going to be a thing for a very long time.
Yeah, that's also true.
And so it's just like weird zone that they're in,
I would
because
love to see them sell the IP to like Microsoft or something.
yeah, I don't know if Microsoft will do a good job of it, but
That's also true.
maybe give it to Larian.
Yeah, maybe.
But Larian, I mean, it's not their type of gameplay. Um, but yeah, I mean, I got mixed feelings about EA getting bought out. We'll see, how it pans out. I just think it's interesting that the price they're paying for EA is very similar to Activision Blizzard.
I know, it's insane.
Right? And I mean, there's obviously inflation, but still, like, that's really close.
It's really
and it's
close.
Honestly more than what I would have expected. I was not expecting like that much.
Yeah, I was not either.
I guess maybe, I mean, I do know FIFA now, EA Soccer or whatever.
Yeah, yeah.
Whatever it's called. They make, I think it's FC.
FC,
Yeah.
football. No, it's something.
Yeah,
Football club.
Yeah, I know it makes crazy money, but like, are we talking Call of Duty and Candy Crush money? Because man, Call of Duty and Candy Crush makes so much money.
Yeah, it's maybe close, but not. It's like top 10 every like now for the last 2 years, but it's not number one or two.
That's crazy to me.
So
yeah, so that's that. I guess Battlefield 2. I thought the showcase was really good. I'm honestly just waiting on the reviews. And I think it's ironic because I was waiting on the reviews because I was worried that the Battlefield campaign looked really good to me, but it would actually be terrible. And then I would be disappointed because I really want to play a good Battlefield campaign. Like, I miss Bad Company 2. I had a blast with that. Like, I just really want a good Battlefield campaign.
By the way, most people think Battlefield Bad Company 2 is the last good story
They think it's the last good one or the
Yeah,
yeah. Okay, so I'm not in the minority.
you're not, but that means that
Like,
was a wow
bro,
film.
it feels so nice to not be in the minority for one of my opinions.
But that's why I don't have any faith that they can finally like, because that game was purely a single player game, right? Or was there multiplayer to it?
I think it might have just been single player.
Yeah,
Oh man, you're so right. That means it's probably gonna suck.
yeah, it's probably inside. Yeah.
But I think if the campaign is not great, I don't know if I buy Battlefield
The same. I'm not.
because the thing is, I'm probably not gonna play it a lot,
Yeah,
and then I'm just gonna it's just gonna sit there and I'm gonna feel guilty about it. At least if the campaign is decent, like an 8 out of 10 experience, or
yeah,
even maybe a 7 out of 10, then I don't feel as bad.
yeah,
Otherwise, I'm just wondering, do I wait until it's eventually on Game Pass?
yeah. Exactly.
Because eventually it'll get on PS Plus and Game Pass,
Yeah.
right? So we'll see what the reviews are like, but I'm a lot more likely to buy it than I was, before the showcase.
Okay.
Okay, I guess other things to talk about. What do you want to do? You want to do Sony, Microsoft, or Nintendo
Let's
next?
start with Nintendo next.
I knew it. I knew you'd want to talk about Nintendo. So I guess we could talk about what do you want to talk about? Mario 40th?
Yeah, Mario 40th. So there was a special Nintendo Direct in September that was rumored for some time, came to fruition, and the first thing they started off was the Mario 40th anniversary, and part of that was like a special part of the Direct. They've done this before, I think, for like the Mario 35th anniversary or something like that as well. So it's not uncommon to see them do it. So they have this little special like banner now. It says Super Mario Bros. 40th, and part of that, somewhat disappointing, somewhat exciting, is like they announced a couple of different things related to Mario, right? So you're getting a compilation of Super Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 coming in as a on physical for Switch 1, but can also be played on Switch 2 with an update that gives an upres boost as well as I think FPS boost to 4K docked 1080p handheld. It remains to be seen how the pointer is going to work on Super Mario Galaxy 2 because that was used a lot more for that game. So in handheld mode, I have no idea how that's going to work. Apparently, the game's already been broken street date by a lot of retailers, so it's out like we're literally today. People have gotten it already, so they're playing it. They announced a new Yoshi game, another 2D platformer. Looks interesting, but like kind of looks like the last one, Woolly Yarn or something, which honestly didn't get great reviews. And I'm kind of disappointed that they didn't make like a 3D adventure Yoshi game, but it is what it is. That comes out next spring, I want to say. There's a update to Super Mario Bros. Wonder, and most of what they showcased was multiplayer only updates. And they're saying there's more to come, but I have a feeling that they're really not going to add a lot to the single player modes, so it's hard to know. But if they're already showcasing off just multiplayer, that must be the big caveat here. Kind of just like how Super Mario Party had the multiplayer updates only for Switch 2. And then they announced a sequel to the Super Mario Brothers movie, which is out next year, and it's based off of Super Mario Galaxy. So that I found really interesting, and I'm almost wondering, like they said, they're adding some slightly new content to the Super Mario Galaxy games, where there's like this book that Rosalina looks through and they've added new chapters to it. And maybe the game ties into the movie or maybe they're somewhat little separately, but it's almost like, are they teasing a Super Mario Galaxy 3? I don't think they would ever do that, but it was a little disappointing that they didn't really announce a new Mario game, new
Yeah,
mainline 3D Mario game, or even 2D Mario game.
yeah.
Um,
I think for me, I think I was a little disappointed walking away from it. I know you were pretty excited about it overall. I think you like Mario a lot more than me, and you've probably played a lot of the Mario spin-offs when I haven't. But for
mm,
me, really, I've just been playing like mainline 2D and 3D games. So that's why I was like, I mean, I don't know if I'm really interested in any of these announcements. I think the new Mario movie is awesome,
yeah,
right? But at the same time, like, I could have probably gotten that news anywhere.
yeah,
Um, I think from the 2D perspective, Mario Wonder was so good. Like, I don't think I need a 2D Mario game anytime soon.
yeah,
So really, I'm just waiting for that new 3D Mario game. Like, it's
yeah.
it's great that we're getting Galaxy 2. Like, that's phenomenal. I would have liked that it was included in that Mario pack
The
that came
3D
out,
All
but
Stars,
whatever,
yeah, which is disappointing. I mean, I'll say this: like, arguably, a lot of people think that the Galaxy games are better than Mario Odyssey, and this is some sort of emulation, so it's not like a full-on remake or
Yeah.
even remaster. So, well, again, it remains to be seen how it actually plays because you have to use pointer controls. But my like thing is like I do miss these games. They were abandoned on the Wii for a long time, and I think
Yeah, it's nice that you're like getting them on newer consoles so that
yeah,
people it's still like out there, and
Yeah,
people can still
yeah.
play it. It's not gate
And
locked to the Wii.
like, look, there was the ability to play it on the Wii U, but most people didn't buy the
Yeah,
Wii U,
yeah.
right? So I guess like my point is if they've done a good job at least emulating and porting this game over, I think this might bide some time for them. But honestly, they probably can't go more than 1 or 2 years without announcing the next big Mario game. And if unfortunately 5 years go by, I'm going to be pretty disappointed if we don't get anything else because we went all of last generation with one Mario 3D game.
Yeah, I mean, I have no idea when the next one's gonna come, but I mean, they spent a lot of time on Donkey Kong,
They did, and that's the
so
most unfortunate part.
so
Is
it might honestly be a while until we get another 3D Mario, and so maybe that's why they're doing this. Like maybe it's intentional.
I think it's
They might
intentional.
have been sitting on these for a long time, and they're just doing this so people feel like they're getting that 3D Mario like
Yeah,
scratch, like you know.
I think so. And honestly, like tangentially related to this is that there's been so many rumors about remasters of Zelda, Twilight Princess, and Wind Waker again. And funny enough, next year I think is like Zelda's 30th
Oh my
anniversary.
god, they're totally gonna do
Yeah,
Twilight Princess next year. I
and
didn't
it's
even think
like
about it.
so it's like another thing to buy time before the next Zelda game comes out, which I don't think will come out for another 5 years too.
I guess that's the new thing to do. Halo's gonna be doing it.
Halo's doing
That's
it.
what everyone's gonna be doing.
So it's like, I mean, again, don't get me wrong. There's always a new generation of people that haven't played these games, or a generation that's gotten much older, has had kids, and they're like, we want
Yeah,
to
and the
touch this
tech has
game.
changed. I mean, I think if the game fundamentally looks very different, then people are like, okay, I'm up
Yeah,
for this,
and you touch
But
pain
if it's
for a
just like
friend.
Last of Us 86,
That game, don't speak that
people
name.
are like, do I need to go from 3K to 4K to now
Yeah,
8K? Like,
exactly.
but
So yeah, I mean, overall, I was excited to know that I could get to play Galaxy again. But $70 for this game is absurd.
no,
I
that's
think
killer.
at most 50 would have been palpable,
That's
like
killer. Yeah.
25 per game, but they're charging you 40 per
Yeah,
game
I
separately
mean, I don't know
digitally.
if I would get it because I bought the pack in the
Well,
Switch, and then I'm like, do I really want to pay $70 just to play Galaxy 2?
you can buy it separately on the eShop channel for 40. But you have to pay 40.
Just 40 for the Galaxy 2?
Yeah.
Oh man.
So it might be worth it because, in my opinion, Galaxy 2 was the best one of the two, and you can play with Yoshi,
I don't know.
as you can see Mario and Yoshi.
I guess another unpopular opinion. I didn't really like Galaxy 1 that much. Maybe because I was playing on the Switch, but the whole time I was just thinking, I would rather play this on the Wii. Like, these controls are not the same.
So I'm gonna wait until tomorrow to see how it plays on the Switch 2. With if the controls are much better, yeah, like for sure I'm gonna get it.
I guess the other thing to talk about from that was the announcement of Metroid 4 release date,
Oh yeah, that's another
which
big
did
thing.
not expect to come then.
It was really strange because in the middle of the direct, they just drop a trailer. It's a minute and like 20 seconds, barely any big announcements. They show off the fact that there's like an open segment now to the game that connects all the zones. So you have a motorcycle and you can just ride around from like zone to zone. And then they're just like December 4th. And I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
And they spent more time on it on Mario stuff
I
that
think they're going to have a Metroid showcase.
yeah, so their MO
Probably 2 or 3 weeks before.
yeah, their MO has always been like up to a month before. So I'm sure
I think
November
I'm
we're gonna
getting
get
the
it.
cadence. It's like you do the showcase for what's coming, then you give a little sizzle reel
Yeah.
for the next thing, and then the next thing comes. You do a showcase for
Yep.
it, then you show the next thing. I gotta hand it to Nintendo. They've spaced things out pretty well.
Yeah.
If you think about it, we went from Mario World to Donkey Kong to Kirby,
Kirby,
and then from there we're going to be getting Pokemon.
Pokemon.
Oh no, Pokemon's first, and then you're gonna because that's October,
Yeah.
and then November is Kirby, and then you're gonna go into Hades 2, and then Metroid.
Yep. And November you're also getting Zelda,
Hyrule, the Calamity, whatever.
Hyrule Warriors Age of Imprisonment.
Yeah. So that's actually pretty good spacing
Yeah,
out,
that's
and it's like
pretty
month to month to month.
It's
So
kind of crazy.
I wonder what they'll have for next year because it seems
Yeah.
kind of stacked for the first 6 months.
Well, so another interesting thing was like I think this was leaked from Japan, but like the back of the artwork for Metroid Prime 4 was potentially leaked of the case. You know how you have the back of the case?
Mhm.
And it's kind of interesting how Nintendo is classifying the Metroid game. They're calling it an FPA. So FPS is a first person
First
shooter.
person action.
Yeah, they're calling it a first person action game. And I'm like, huh, that's interesting.
That's kind of fair though, because I guess they just invented that genre.
Yeah.
It is kind of fair though, I will say. So what else goes in there? Mirror's Edge.
Yeah, maybe Mirror's
that's
Edge. Yeah,
that's first person action.
yeah.
That's the actual first
And
person
you don't,
action.
yeah, you don't see games like that often, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I just found that interesting. So yeah, it was a good direct. There was some real chunky or meat to it, bones to it, but overall, I think I'm still excited for the next several months.
Yeah. I'm pretty excited for Pokemon coming up. I, I think obviously you saw this because you like Pokemon more than me. The fact that you can Mega Evolve multiple Pokemon in your party
Yeah.
now,
Oh yeah. The
and
fact
then
that
you
I was
can
like,
use like
thank
Mega
God.
Power moves. I think that was a nice little wrinkle.
Yeah, I do too. Now, there's been some contention about this because you got two Mon catching games coming out this month or in October. One is Pokemon Legends EA, and the other is Digimon Time Stranger. Digimon
Why
has
did Digimon do this?
well, so this is funny. Digimon hasn't had a story game in over 10 years and initially released on the PS Vita and then got ported over, I think, to PS sorry, a PC afterwards, and they try to upgrade it a bit, but it was very archaic and old. And now it's clear that they've taken a lot of inspiration from Sword and Shield and Scarlet and Violet for their new game. They've had a demo out for the last month, and people actually just reading through some forums. Again, this is a very minority of people. To me, what I'm seeing is the sentiment is more people are hyped for the Digimon game than the Pokemon game. The one thing I'm worried about is there was new previews that came out for Legends ZA yesterday or 2 days ago, and Nintendo's only allowing people to play the game for 1 hour, and it's the same section, which is the city. And it's like I'm worried now that there's nothing else besides the city in this
But
game.
the thing is, even if Pokemon Z comes out and it's a 6 out of 10,
It will sell.
it will sell
Yes.
so many more millions.
Yes.
It's gonna be like the best selling game.
Yes. So I fully believe that.
I just don't get it. Why Digimon? Why go in the same month?
Yeah, it's kind of
Just
crazy.
pick any other month. I think we were just talking about, hey, just release when you're ready, bro. Like you never know. It's like, dude, but this is like your one competitor since the beginning of time.
See, honestly, I actually see it the other way. I actually think that because they've known the release date for ZA for some time, this is more of like a confidence thing. Like they know that whether they copied a lot or not from Pokemon for this upcoming release, I think they're more confident that it's going to be seen slightly better. Public like through the media, even though it doesn't sell well.
Yeah, I could see it maybe scoring better. And let's say it scores better. Will it randomly go viral? Maybe.
Small chance, but
And there's always a chance that people will be like, hey, no, Pokemon ZA is a, disappointment. Go play Digimon.
yeah.
But Pokemon is so popular.
Yeah.
The odds of that. Like, I can see, okay, Call of Duty Black Ops 7, people are like, oh man, don't play Black Ops 7, go play
Yeah.
Battlefield, and people will do it. But Pokemon is Pokemon.
Yeah, it's funny. I already have one friend that said they're not getting Legends off because of how upset they are about the fact that A, the game is $70, but it's only in the city. B, they've already announced DLC before the game is out. Okay,
I just think it's such a stupid move.
$30 DLC. We don't even know what it
Such
is.
a stupid move. I don't know
And-
what they're smoking.
And then 3, they're locking behind the Mega Evolutions for Great Ninja, Delphox, and what's the third though? That grass starter. I'm already forgetting his name. But the third grass starter behind multiplayer ranked seasons 1, 2, and 3.
So would he buy it if it was cheaper?
Yeah, he said he would have considered it if it was cheaper, but because the barrier to entry is so high, he's like at this point he's like I'm not, and he's getting Digimon.
If it's expensive, that's fair, but it's not like you're hurting the Pokemon company.
No, he's not.
You're just depriving yourself.
He is, but because he has a choice now, he's going with Digimon.
Okay, that's fair. I think if that's the case, if it's like a money thing, that's fair. If you're like, hey, times are hard, I don't have that much money to spend, I'd rather experience something new like Digimon than just like play Pokemon again when this Pokemon game is not going to be as good as the other ones. 100% valid argument. But if you're like, no, like I'm upset with Pokemon, so I'm going to boycott them,
Yeah.
maybe for other people I'd understand, but like Pokemon does not care.
Yeah, it never does. And I think it's fair though too to like say like let me try something different for once. And if he's disappointed in Digimon, I'm sure he'll come
You'll just
around.
get Pokemon. The only annoying thing is Pokemon is going to be the same price whether you buy it now or 3 months from now or a year from now.
Which is annoying
But-
to say the least.
Which again goes to show you the power of Pokemon. Like the fact that they can sell their games at whatever price whenever they want, and people will buy them in the tens of millions.
And it's crazier that it's like there's a period of hype for any type of Pokemon game that comes out. So between now and February 28th of 2026, if you don't play between that time period, they're announcing their next game on February 28th of 2026 for the 30th anniversary, which means whatever game comes out next year is going to be the marketing for that's going to be insane.
Crazy.
And then Zod will
I
be out of
just I
the
just think if Digimon had the chance, right, to go when they wanted to go, the best time would have been 3 months after Scarlet and Violet came out.
I agree.
That was the time,
But this is
people were so negative at that time,
this is a
and there
problem.
was no hope because Switch 2 wasn't out yet, so you didn't know if you would ever be able to play Scarlet and Violet in a normal way. Like now, yeah, Scarlet and Violet kind of sucked, but like I don't think people are upset as much as they used to be because at least they can play it now on Switch 2.
Yeah, this is a problem with Bamco because they always gave all the Digimon games prior to this such a low budget that finally they were. It's clear through the production value of the demo that they finally given them more money, but they probably still didn't give them enough to develop it faster.
Fast enough, yeah.
And it's like that's on them, and they didn't market like capitalize on that situation. So you got to kind of blame their publishers too for that. But you know what? At the end of the day, I'm kind of excited. I hope they both do good. If they get even low 80s, I'm gonna get both. Well, I already got Legends. Yeah, I have it pre-ordered, but I'll get Digimon too. If it's like low 80s. But even if it's high 70s, I'll wait for a sale and I'll get it because this looks arguably better. And I've always been a sentimentally like a Digimon fan since I was a kid.
Yeah, I like Digimon more than Pokemon growing up.
Yeah,
I just kind of gave up on Digimon, honestly. Like I think after the third show, I just kind of gave up on it.
Which is fair. By the way, they're coinciding the release of this Digimon game with the new Digimon show for the very first time in like years.
Okay, is it like really weird? Because I
It's
feel like
weird.
The Digimon shows got really weird.
Yeah, this is something called like Digibreaker. I forgot what it's called. It's something weird.
This is the same problem Yu-Gi-Oh had. It's like at a certain point, the solution is not just to go weirder and crazy.
Yeah.
Like you gotta reel it back in at a certain point. Like we don't. Was it like Yu-Gi-Oh! 5 Dragons or whatever?
5Ds.
Like,
no.
At a certain point. Oh my god. At a certain point, you gotta reel it in, I like how that's the first question I have to ask about Digimon. Like, did it get weirder?
It did. Because I'm just like,
because I feel like the third season was like the right balance, like with kind of like real world techy edgy, and then like like the Digi world. But then it's like if you get weirder than that, you've lost me.
Yeah, you've lost people. That's what happened with Yu-Gi-Oh! Like you went so off the radar. Everyone's like,
I feel like Yu-Gi-Oh! GX was like as like kind of different as it could be, and then after that, I was just like, you lost me.
Yeah, you lost me. Yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'll be curious to know how the show is, but at least like from a animation perspective, it actually looks good for once. So the question is the concept. We'll see how it ends up panning out.
And I guess we can spend a little bit of time on this. Not a ton because the game's not out yet. But Hades 2, I'm pretty sure. Now you can double check after, but I'm pretty sure it's Switch 2 console exclusive. It's going to come out on everything else, and I think it's kind of in like a beta form in other places. But man, that's kind of a nice addition. The fact that it's just lined up right for the start of the generation and. Honestly, I was originally going to wait until I could play it on the Xbox, but now I'm kind of tempted to just buy it on the Switch too.
Yeah.
And I don't even think it's full price. I think it's like $50-$60, which is awesome.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, IGN just reviewed it. They gave it a 10 out of 10.
Yeah.
And animation is great. It plays well. You beat the first one, so I know.
So Hades is one of those games where I think when I'm hearing about a bunch of chatter online and everyone's like, oh my God, this is like the next coming of Christ. Like, it's amazing. I'm like, all right, calm down, guys. Maybe get a little jelly. I'm like, no one loves my work that same way. And then I played Hades, and I was like, I don't know, in the beginning. And then I kept playing. I was like, God, this game's addictive. And I don't know if it lived up to the hype, because the hype was pretty ridiculous. But Hades is one of those games where people hyped it up for me to get into it, and that's the only reason I got into it. And I am so happy they did, because I would have missed that, and that was 100% worth playing. So it's one of those rare instances where I was satisfied, even though it was super hyped.
Okay, yeah, and that'll be interesting. I want to play it, but because it's a roguelite, like I'm just like I know it takes time, and I know it's not like actually as hard as those other roguelite games.
I hate roguelites. Yeah. I really do, but Hades, I mean, Hades is like such a good roguelite.
Yeah, if they found a good balance where you're not constantly dying and stuff. Okay, like I'd consider
the nice thing about Hades is even if you have a wipe run, you can get these like crazy abilities from like the other gods, and you're like, okay, I never thought it would be cool to be like the Aphrodite deity like champion, like it's the love god, but like you get some crazy power ups, and you're like, oh, this is kind of cool. And
Okay.
then sometimes you even do better than like if you were like, oh, I'm gonna be Zeus and just electrocute everybody.
Okay. So that's
So
interesting. Yeah, I'm gonna really pay attention to this one, and yeah, maybe I will check this one out too.
yeah, no, you should honestly. I was pleasantly surprised. Like it's nice when a game is overhyped and you play it and you're pleasantly surprised.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for sure.
So okay, moving on to some other stuff. I kind of want to talk about the Sony stuff.
Really? You want to really quickly talk about the Hideo Kojima stream, just like a minute?
Sure, sure.
Let's get
I
it out
mean,
of the
I
way.
don't have too much to talk about with that. OD looked super creepy, but again, I don't really know what to make of the game.
Yeah. So like, okay, so OD knock is what it's called, but a couple of things. One is it's probably going to be an Xbox exclusive. He announced this partnership with Xbox about 2 years ago. It looks like it's going to be episodic. So the first episode, it's directed by Hideo, and it's called Knock. So the title of the game is called just ODE. The first episode is most likely going to be Knock. And then after that, he's getting other famous directors and people in the movie industry to direct their own episodes after. So the next one would be by Jordan Peele, and then he would direct another episode, and
It's
then
kind of
and so
cool.
on, so on. So he's clearly created like some framework that everyone can kind of come in
So
and
it's
give their own
almost like
spin.
he's making a TV series,
Yeah,
right? Like just like there's season one and you have multiple episodes. It's like game one, game two, game three, game four, game five, or
yeah,
like level one, level two, level
yeah,
three, level four, level five. It's a really fascinating
yeah.
idea.
It's kind of fascinating.
I just don't like the horror genre that
Yeah, I
much,
don't either.
So I'm like, man, if this was the same thing but sci-fi, oh, I
Yeah,
would have
oh
loved it. For
man, if this
people
is
who,
Detroit Become Human esque,
yeah, if people loved, for people who love horror, like this is amazing, right? Like,
yeah, but I
but
don't know if that sells well, you
I
know.
mean, Resident Evil sells well. This is definitely a market
But
for it.
that's an action game still at the end of the day, you know.
Yeah, I don't know what this is gonna be like.
Yeah, so we'll see. And then they talked a little more about Fizzant. They released the first artwork for it, and it's really weird. It's like a guy's face which is obscured, but he's got a weird half like jacket where like it's just like weird looking. He's got a gun in his hand, and it has the weirdest tagline I've ever seen. It's like "Feel the game" or something. What is it? We're
Oh,
looking
I'm
at it.
looking it up right now.
Yeah, what does it say right there? Here,
Here comes the feeling.
yeah, here comes it. It's like some rant. I'm like, what does that mean? And he didn't even explain it during his stream. You know,
Yeah, I think some people are gonna get like super
disappointed.
hyped and try and speculate, but like
Like if you
really, like
like, I initially when they announced that I was like, oh, this is gonna be the next coming of Metal Gear, and it's gonna be better. But I don't know. Now, granted, there's a player right there with a gun in his hand, and it's tactical espionage, but he could just go balls crazy and just do something so totally different.
I know this works for Hideo Kojima, but why can't you just tell us?
Yeah,
It's a third-person action adventure
yeah, just
game,
say it.
and we will have some information to show you when we're ready. And just wait 4 years
Yeah,
until you have some
until
information.
you're ready.
I get it. This is viral. This totally works. Everyone's gonna speculate, and they love speculating. But it's like,
Yeah,
dude, just tell me the genre.
yeah.
Goodbye. Work on
Goodbye.
it, and
Yeah,
then we'll talk
sayonara.
later.
It's like no, he
And
did.
if you can't decide what the genre is, just call it a third person or first person action game.
Yeah, exactly. Make it generic as hell. Now he did say that whatever technology they're using for this game is like state of the art. So he did reemphasize that. So he did not say they're using Decima engine this time, but he's saying it's something brand new, totally not seen in the industry. So again, I'll be curious to see how it ends up looking and come
Decima
out.
2.
Yeah, maybe like a next generation Decima engine, which is what
That would
Capcom did with
that would
their
make
Resident
sense,
Evil engine.
because I mean they've been using Decima since PS4, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe even earlier.
PS4. So, I mean, Capcom did that with the Resident Evil engine. They called it Resident Evil Next or something when they made their upgrade to their engine. But yes, there was that. And then the last thing was they announced two more things. One was they're making an anime for Death Stranding, but it's not based on Sam Porter Bridges. It's based on some other characters within the story. And they also just gave a slight update on the A24 live action movie that they want to not completely retell Death Stranding as is. It's going to be different than like the game. They don't think it's worth retelling the exact same stories. So those updates there.
Yeah, I'm excited for that stuff. I don't know.
Yeah,
I
I
didn't like
wasn't
Death
super
Stranding
hyped.
so much, but I think for people who love Death Stranding and love a lot of Hideo Kojima's works, they're just gonna. I mean, this is amazing news all around.
Yeah, I think the biggest takeaway I took from this is that he himself and his studio now basically said when we first came up with the new Kojima production studio, our goal was like a three phase thing: start a new IP, then get involved in a whole bunch of entertainment like manga, anime, movies. And then in the third phase, which will come after, he said basically Death Stranding 2, which was create some unique stories that we've never been able to tell before. So like it's clear that him and his studio, a very small studio, want to branch out into a bunch
Yeah.
of
I mean, they
multimedia.
probably have like a decent amount of money that they're sitting on, so
Yeah.
now they're like, we can experiment a little bit more. So I like that. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
always going to reward creativity. It's just his work is not normally in the genre I like.
Yeah.
You know, I think if it's the genre you like this is amazing. You know.
Oh, and they're also branding with someone really popular to make their own sake for Death Stranding. I forget,
Oh,
like in Japan, it was pretty.
I mean, I'll probably pick that up.
Yeah, that was
That
cool.
sounds
It
cool.
looked the bottle and
That
the
sounds cool.
box.
All right. So finishing up with some stuff, we can talk about Sony.
Yeah.
So, what do you think of the Sony showcase?
I think for the most part, like not good. Like I'd give it a B minus at
Really,
best.
I was not expecting that. I had a totally different reaction.
I mean,
I
like
thought they killed it.
I think the two things that stuck out to me were Saros, which is coming out March 2026. I was like, okay. So then as soon as they said that, I'm like, they're going to show Wolverine's coming out fall 2026. And I was right. Now, Wolverine looked amazing,
Yeah.
but let me talk about Saros a little bit first. Main character's name is Arjun Devraj. Yo, let's go Arjun for all you.
You're not
know.
gonna give it an A just for that.
Fuck that. But you can kind of tell gameplay in terms of movement looks very similar to Returnal. Honestly, the model did not look that good. Like between that versus like the pre-rendered cutscenes from earlier this year, I'm like, oh, kind of not good. But they did emphasize again, when you die, you'll come back stronger. So I think they realized their Returnal before, while it was loved by many, it wasn't accessible to many. It was just
Yeah.
too hard. And so I think hopefully this game, while they might not have difficulty options, if it makes it easier as you play the game to actually get through, I will pick it up because literally the setup looks exactly the same to Returnal. There's no real main story. It's not like this
Yeah.
linear story driven game. It's just like level to level and you're just in and out and you're weaving through. So it doesn't speak to me that much. And I know you
Yeah.
liked Returnal,
So
but
I liked Returnal. I don't know if they're gonna fix the parts of Returnal I wasn't the biggest fan of. I wanted more storytelling. You know, I really did like the whole cryptic way the story was told, and it's like you
yeah.
have to piece things together, and you walk away, and you're like, what was the story even?
Yeah.
You know, and you're like, did I even finish the game?
Yeah.
And so so there's that part of it. I think some people love that type of storytelling, just not for me. I like the more traditional, like epic, you know, almost like Hollywood esque
Yeah,
like
God of War
stories.
esque. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's not like it's not doable in a roguelike because there was the God of War Valhalla Ragnarok, and that kind of had more of an epic narrative conclusion, like, you know, and you could kind of see like a cathartic ending, you know, by the end. So like it's doable in the genre. So I would like that type level of storytelling. You know, that's where I would want the team to go towards. I think they already nailed the combat. Like I don't know how you can make the combat for this better. You know, I think if they make the die and repeat, you know, cycle better, you know, more approachable, that's great. You know, they should definitely do that. I think I just saw more of what I liked from Returnal. The gameplay looked great. It looked very similar to Returnal. And sometimes I'm like, if you just replace the character model with her, then you were playing Returnal too, you know.
Yeah.
And that's not that necessarily a knock. You know, I think there's a part of it there. I'm relieved that I'm getting more of what I liked. I just I just wish they would, you know, have, to me, I don't know if it's bad to say, but more coherent storytelling or more
Yeah.
traditional storytelling. Uh, I think because I had such low expectations for Saros, getting that gameplay and getting as much of the gameplay as I got and as soon as I got, I did not expect that. Like, I
Yeah.
didn't think I was going to hear anything about Saros until next year. Maybe it would be end of next year, if not delayed. So this completely surprised me.
Well, to be fair, in February of this year, they did say we'd see gameplay this year. So
Did they? Or maybe I'm just stupid.
yeah. So as soon as they
No, they
said that,
actually they're good on their word. They're
yeah,
good on their word.
yeah, and as soon as they said that in February, I immediately knew it was a 2026 game, but I just didn't know when.
Yeah, you never know, and you might. And the thing is, Sony always has like that 1-2 combo. So I was thinking, oh, it's going to be Neo in the first half, and then the second half is going to be Saros.
Yeah, that's kind of what I
And
thought.
so now it's actually no, Saros is in the first half.
Yeah.
We're getting Wolverine. So to me, it feels like an extra treat. You know?
Yeah, that's and I was like thoroughly surprised. I'm like, okay,
So that's how.
Returnal came out what in 2020 or 2021.
2021. Damn.
So 5 years by the time this one game comes out. That's actually surprising. They were actually able to output. I don't want to say quick, but they found a new
Yeah.
idea. They kind of almost again. I don't want to say reskin because we'll see how this game actually is when it comes out, but a new concept.
Yeah, kudos to them. They actually delivered it. Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think 5 years is for a AAA project. That's considered a good
yeah,
timeline
it's a good
now,
time.
which is crazy to me.
Yeah,
Wolverine blew me away.
yeah.
I was thinking with the news of Wolverine, like, hey, the creative director left. He went to friggin' the Perfect Dark Studio, and they got canceled. I was like, okay, the guy left because Wolverine was, a mess. And if then Perfect Dark was a mess, maybe the whole team has been a mess the whole time, and they just didn't have the right people. But man, that gameplay just delivered. It looks good. It almost looked a little too hyper violent for me.
It
I was
was
just like,
super hyper.
I was like, man, I normally like gore in my video games, but like this is
like a claw
really
to the
gory.
brain, jiggling like.
Yeah, which
Now,
I, I'm happy they did it. I'm
yeah,
happy they went
that's what
there,
you need.
because that's what
Well,
you need for Wolverine. But damn, I did not expect that. Like that escalated quickly. That just went there right away.
yeah.
No hesitation.
So what I found interesting was like as soon as they showed the trailer for Wolverine, then they did this behind the scenes like 5 minute thing, and the first thing that stuck out to me was the director of the game, which I don't know if most people like realize who it was. He was the original director for Resistance.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So for you, I know you talked about like, hey, they lost their director, it was in shambles. They put the right person after they lost their initial director. They put the right person on for
Well,
this.
that's the thing. Insomniac has so much talent.
Yeah, which is why Ted Price said, as he retired this past year, said we have the right people on our games, and I'm confident that everything will get released the way it's supposed to be, and we're not really facing any problems anymore. So he said it very vaguely, but they probably are clicking on all cylinders now. Did they go through potential reboot in this game? Yeah, they probably did 2 years ago, but at the end of the day, I think they're going to get to the finish line.
I wonder what made them reboot.
Yeah, I wonder too.
I'm very curious. Like, what was it that they weren't happy about? Like, was it they were just weren't gory enough? Like,
No, I think they had the tech down quite early in the game, the blood tech, because that was leaked when all the files got leaked. But I think my guess it was probably between an open world versus semi-linear or linear
yeah,
game.
that makes sense. That's what
You know.
everyone is basically struggling with.
Yeah, and I think this is not going to be an open world game. We saw clips where Wolverine's running on a rooftop in Madripoor, so it's probably going to be these like slightly big extended sequences, kind of maybe like God of War Ragnarok, where you're kind of going back and forth traversing.
I'd be okay with that. Honestly, I don't want another Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Because Spider-Man makes sense. You're in New York City.
Yeah, and you're
Well,
swimming
Wolverine,
around.
like, what would you do? You would try and pigeonhole him into like a random city. Like, oh, let's
Yeah.
just make him in Las Vegas.
And
But
then yeah, you'd be. And I think they already announced like at least two locations in this game. One was Madripoor, one was Canada, I think, and then there was a third location they announced.
I would rather do that. Like, I would rather have Wolverine in the style of Uncharted.
Yeah.
Like, that kind of like, it can be a little more spaced out too, just like Uncharted 4 was getting more spaced out. But that's what I would much rather
Yeah,
have.
I'd rather have that. And look, if you look at God of War, that game was still a 30-hour game.
Yeah.
Like they can really still pad it out as long as they tell a good story. Now, what I thought was unique was they showed off a couple of things, like Mystique is in the game.
Yeah.
Shocking because the leaks had said that Jean Grey was in the game initially, so who knows if they scrapped her. Also, a Sentinel was in the game. That looked crazy at the end. And then let's see what else they showed. Omega Red. I was like, wow, okay. And honestly, the graphics have definitely improved. Like from Spider-Man 2, it's like almost drawing like how much better.
Yeah.
Again, realistic it looks.
Oh yeah.
It's like,
and it's like Spider-Man 2 just came out, right? That's 2 years,
2 years
old.
ago. Yeah.
And so for this to be
that big of an improvement
already,
yeah, man. Again, Insomniac just
I was
delivers.
very surprised. Insomniac, I mean, I shouldn't jinx them, but they don't miss.
And they found seemingly a good actor to portray Logan. I think he was in Spartacus at the end. Wasn't he the actor?
Oh, I don't know. I have to look it up.
I think. And then on top of it, the art cover, like the artwork is so badass. It's all yellow, blends in with his suit. It's got the, claws coming out. So
I think Wolverine's going to be a massive hit. And I think it's probably going to be one of the biggest, like, massive hits of this gen.
So do you think that the rated M nature of the game is going to impact sales at all?
Oh, yes.
I actually don't think so.
I don't think it's going to sell as well as Spider-Man.
I actually think it'll sell just as good or better. Like, if you have a game...
I mean, I think you are discrediting how popular Spider-Man is.
No, I'm not. I think Wolverine is just as popular. I feel like...
Well, that's a big take.
Yeah, I know.
Okay, tell me one Wolverine movie that's made half as much as a Spider-Man movie.
I mean, okay. But I can tell you, there's been more Wolverine movies than Spider-Man movies in the last like decade and a half.
That's probably a sign of them not being able to do it
Also
justice.
true, but I think every X-Men movie has really showcased that Wolverine has always been the biggest
Oh yeah,
appeal. So I feel like even though there was X-Men movies, there's really Wolverine movies, right?
I
I,
agree with you on that.
I think like the other thing too is like capitalizing on the height of Wolverine and Deadpool, and on top of it, like that when a game comes out, even if it's rated M, people will find a way to play it. Like, and then the example I'm just going to throw out there is GTA.
Yeah, I was gonna say the same thing. Grand Theft Auto. So you make a good point with that, but Spider-Man, right? I think if you're thinking comics, Spider-Man and Wolverine are very popular, and most comic book heads would probably think, "Oh, they're just as big." But when you look at lay people who are not into, comics, they will know both. But Spider-Man is just way bigger, dude.
I
It's
don't
just,
know,
dude,
man.
Spider-Man is pulling 2 billion a movie.
Okay, so
How
now
many people do you see dressed up as Wolverine? How many people do you see dressed up as Spider-Man?
I don't know, man. But okay, you're right about that. That's a good point. But
So the real question would be like if we could compare a teen Wolverine to a mature Wolverine.
yeah,
But first off, I think Spider-Man, even though Wolverine is a huge franchise, Spider-Man's bigger. So like you, even if they were both teens, you might disagree, but I just don't think like Wolverine can sell as much
but
because of that. And I do think the mature rating will hurt it slightly, but we just won't know. The reason why, I think there's very young kids who should not be buying games,
oh, that's a whole
but they
nother story.
are, right?
Yeah,
So there's 6-year-olds who are like playing Spider-Man,
yeah.
right? And so sometimes parents might let that pass. But I think it's going to be hard to let a 6-year-old play Wolverine.
Unless
And nor do I think 6-year-olds should play Wolverine.
unless you're the 35-year-old parent of the 6-year-old that wants to buy
Would
it.
would you want how old would your kids have to be to play that kind of gore?
They would have to be like above 13, but
There you
to
go.
watch the game,
I would feel like my kid needs to be in high school.
I'd be like my kid's
I
a six.
I mean, I was playing Gears of War at a young age, so I know I sound like
A hypocrite.
a hypocrite. But if the Gears of War chainsaw was as graphic as the Wolverine,
Oh come on, it
in
was
that
graphic.
dude, what do you mean? It was like this like artificial ocean of blood, and
But
like
you're sawing people in half.
yeah, but like now it's like so realistic, right?
Like I just think that like
So my thing is,
well, here's the thing. The indicator you're using for popularity is purely the movie. Like there are other indicators of both of these like
oh sure,
characters, right? Like whether it's comics, merchandise, a bunch of other things that go with it. But I agree, like the movies are a big indicator.
I
It's
think
not the only indicator.
if you asked me the question in 1995 or 2000, I'd say they're probably equally popular. But there's just been so much focus on Spider-Man that Sony has milked this franchise
That
so
is true.
much that they just spread it out. And I think Spider-Man is more relatable to more people
But
because Spider-Man, like a lot of younger people relate more to Spider-Man than they would Wolverine. I think Wolverine is more relatable to older people.
yeah, I agree. But yeah, he's more nuanced.
Yeah,
You know,
he's more complicated. But like Spider-Man is like there's a Spider-Man TV show on Disney Plus for 4-year-olds.
yeah, like that is ridiculous. I mean, you're right. No, you're right. Like kids probably look up to Spider-Man more right now than they do Wolverine. But I also think that the potential for Wolverine is much higher in terms of popularity for this generation, only because I think it is leading into an X-Men game as
Yeah.
a sequel. So with Spider-Man, it did not lead to an Avengers game, right? We just got Spider-Man 2. We
Yeah.
know we're also getting just a Spider-Man 3. If we go from Wolverine to X-Men, oh my god, I think that opens the floodgates to be probably like one of the best probably superhero games to come out then. We'll see. It remains to be seen because the last two Avenger games that came out were horrible, right? So
I think I'm very excited for it, and I think it's more tantalizing of a prospect. So if they had to go down one direction, I would say please go down the Wolverine direction.
yeah.
But I mean, dude, if you look at how much Spider-Man sells, it's just absurd.
I know.
It's just like when you look up how much Pokemon sells,
Yeah.
you're just like,
It's like
Jesus
Yeah.
Christ.
Like Spider-Man 2 right now, 2 years later, is still in the top 20 in MPD,
It's crazy.
right? So it's selling great. If I had to guess, it's probably between 10 to 20 million units sold right now, I'm sure.
I think if Wolverine sells 10 million, we're going to be happy for it.
Yeah.
I think if Spider-Man sells 10 million,
They were like, that's not enough.
that's a fail.
Yeah.
But anyways, I think we talked about that enough.
Like all I'm saying is this game looks like fun.
Yeah. No, I'm excited. It looks way better than I expected.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's definitely going to the top of my charts for next year.
Yeah, because it's funny because I know you were saying the last couple of years like, no, Wolverine hasn't gotten that excited. Like you were like, yeah, like this is cool, probably a
Yeah.
cool idea, but you weren't like
Yeah.
hyped. But now seeing it in
Oh, I
action,
saw it. And I was like, oh, they totally delivered. I mean, I love Logan, and so Wolverine is hard to nail because you have to commit,
yeah,
and it's hard to commit. Like Logan was dark,
yeah.
but you have to go there. And so I wasn't sure if Insomniac would commit because they've never made anything that dark before.
Well, they have Resistance was pretty dark.
But not that dark.
I mean, not like okay. When you say dark, you're talking about literally like slicing people's faces. But in Resistance, you were killing people.
True. Okay, so I don't mean dark in terms of gore. I mean dark in terms of hopelessness.
A
Like,
Resistance for sure.
but like Resistance happened in a happy ended in a happy note.
Yeah, well, did it?
Yeah, they defeated the aliens.
Did I have the third one?
In Resistance 3. They learned how to friggin' stop them, and then they transmitted it on radio to everyone else, and they're like, "Oh, we're all gonna do the same thing now." And they never actually showed that
Yeah,
they
they
were
don't
all
show it.
successes,
Yeah,
but like it ended on a happy note. But like a lot of Logan stories, they don't end on a happy
yeah.
note. Like they end on an anticlimactic note.
Which
No, like almost like because he's an anti-villain, right?
no, I wouldn't say
Like
he's an anti-villain.
isn't God Kratos an anti-villain?
Yeah, he
Or
is.
not anti-villain. Why am I saying
Anti-hero.
anti-hero?
Anti-hero.
Anti-hero. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, maybe you can. Maybe you could say he's an anti-hero, I guess.
And so because of that, like his stories are always complicated, and like at the end of like a Logan story, like it's cathartic, it's an ending, but it's not like he is happy.
Well, yeah, they said it the best in the trailer. He's not a great narrator because his memory is constantly like he doesn't remember shit
Yeah.
that constantly happens, and I think that adds to that. But yeah, maybe you're right. But still, I still think Resistance was dark.
It was. For compared to your conventional shooter, it was one of the
Yeah,
darkest. Definitely.
so it's not like
But
they don't have any forte in
yeah, I
that.
guess I'll give you that. I didn't think about that, but the Resistance guy is really the right guy.
They're the right.
I've just been thinking more like, Ratchet and Clank,
Yeah,
and then
and
Spider Man. I was like, those are like really lighthearted.
Yeah, those are very lighthearted. Even Spider Man when it got dark, it was just a bunch of criminals escaping a prison.
Yeah. So, so that's cool. So I think that's the main stuff with the Sony showcase.
That was the main stuff.
I guess that can also tie us into Ghost of Yotai.
Hmm.
I think Ghost of Yotai, the reviews are saying pretty much what I expected them to say,
Yeah.
which, it's a revenge story, and we've had so many of them. So it's like,
Yeah, and I feel like the buzz around the game has been kind of quiet. Maybe that's just me. And I'm sure people are going to be excited for it and they're just going to sell millions. But the first game that came out, like, it was something very new for Sony. So I feel like it caught on fire. I don't know. I don't
I feel
know.
like Hollow Knight is drowning out.
No, it's not that. It's just
Ghost
like
of Yotai?
even since Ghost of Yotai was announced this past year, like at the Game Awards show last year or whatever. I don't know. I just haven't.
You think it's because it's a woman?
Think so.
I
I
mean,
don't
that's
want
a
to.
part of it. I mean, there's a big like anti-woke thing, and like, she's not woke, but she's a
Yeah.
woman. So then some people are gonna be like, "Oh no,
I'm not
like
playing this game
you
inherently.
made it
Yeah.
woke," and it's like females can want revenge too.
Yeah, I know. It's like, come on, guys. So we'll see how well it
I
sells.
mean,
I'll be
do I
curious
think
to
it's
see.
kind of weird that like I haven't played the game, but like samurais are very strong,
Yeah.
So
I
is a woman gonna be able to stop like
overpower
a
like
sumo wrestler or like a
Don't play
samurai who
hot.
could kill a sumo
Yeah.
wrestler? I don't know. I mean, I have to play the game and see. That's
Sure
why
you
I felt
can.
like Assassin's Creed Shadow. It was like it feels weird to compliment them, but it was like a good balance between the samurai who is so strong
Brute
and then
force.
she's a ninja.
She's
And you're
stealthy.
like, and I know there's like very strong women, but like, dude, like some of those samurais are massive,
They're massive.
and when they're like covered in armor,
How are you gonna hurt them? And I think a couple of reviews that I've read so far have said this is by far Sucker Punch's best game ever. So I'm like, okay, I can believe that because Infamous was good, but they weren't great.
Yeah.
And I think Ghost of Tsushima, again, somewhat controversial. Like it scored well, fared well, but you kind of said the best. Like, what was the real appeal here?
So I think GameSpot, like they gave it a 7, and I actually agree with the reviewer. Like the things he pointed out, and he was like, "Oh yeah, Ghost of Yotai is better because this got better, this got better." I was like, "This is what I've been saying." I don't know if I'd give it a 7 like Ghost of Tsushima, but it's not a 10.
Yeah, I never saw it as a 10 either, but I never haven't played all of it either. So yeah, no, I just now that the reviews are out, the Legends mode should be coming out a little later. I don't know when it's being
Yeah,
released.
I would think that people would be like more excited about it. Like it just seems like the reviews came out and people were like, "Oh, it's what I expected." You
Yeah,
know,
yeah.
it's like one of those things where like I'm not disappointed. It's not like beyond what I expected. And maybe it's just a reflection of how the internet has become, where either people want things to be terrible so they can make like 50 videos about, oh my God, this is crash and burn failure. Like it's either woke or greed that destroyed everything. Or they'll say, oh my God, this is amazing. And then they use that as a tool to talk crap about everyone else. Like, oh my God, everyone should be Sucker Punch. No one else can be Sucker Punch because
Two
Sucker Punch
extremes.
is,
Yeah.
you know, and it's like, no, this is just like they said this is what they're gonna do, and they did it.
I think the only no, I don't want to say disappointing because again, scope creep. We talk about how games constantly grow large, and to outdo yourselves, you need time. I think if this game came out like 2 years after Ghost of Tsushima and it was this quality, I'd be like, oh my
Yeah,
god, they really pushed themselves super hard to do in 2 years. But to then see it come out 5 years later,
yeah.
it's like,
There's
no,
nothing I see in Ghost of Yotai that blows me away. I'm like, wow, this is like a true advancement of
yeah.
technology. You know, like
The only thing they
you could have
added,
made Ghost of Yotai 5 years ago just in worse graphics.
yeah, and the only thing they added that takes advantage of the PS5 is there's flashback cutscenes where you go from being adult, whatever her name is, the main character, to being a young version immediately.
Yeah.
Like, and then you play as the
But you
young
know, it's
version.
like when I went from Horizon to Horizon, I was like, oh my god, I can tell the difference.
Yeah,
Like the
that was a
world
big
is
jump.
so much richer. The monsters are so much more detailed. There's so much more variety in the monsters. Like this is a clear, massive jump up.
Yeah,
And then when I went from like God of War to God of War
it
Ragnarok, like
was like
similar, like it wasn't like as massive of a jump, but I was like, okay, the play areas are much bigger.
yeah, the
You
players
know,
are bigger,
but
but
it wasn't like oh wow, and I think that's just a reflection of how good God of War was to begin with.
yeah,
And with Ghost, like I'm not seeing like this massive jump up. Like it is an improvement,
yeah,
right? But again, there's nothing that seems like it couldn't have been done years ago,
yeah,
right?
yeah. I
And
agree.
like Witcher, I mean, this is just based off of a tech demo, but you look at Witcher 4 and you're like, okay, how can Witcher expand,
Yeah,
right? And then you see how they're explaining the townspeople and the tech behind the town and all that stuff, and you're like, oh my god, like
yeah.
this is crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, so I agree. I mean, like you can never win it all, but they pumped out a sequel, and I'm sure if I had to guess, they'll do a major expansion for this game
Oh,
too, like
absolutely.
Iki Island, and then well they'll go silent again for another 5 years. And
I wonder if they make another Ghost.
honestly, I hope they don't.
I would be okay with them going to a new franchise.
Well, I guess the question is, do you want them to move to a different genre? Like they've been doing action games for so long in the superhero genre. It's like
Yeah,
I almost wish they kind of did something a little different now.
yeah. I just think that's like the bread and butter of Sony, though. It's like some sort of third-person action. So I don't see them going back to Infamous. I would love for them to do that, but
Yeah,
they'll probably. I think what Sony is trying to do is having multiple teams, right? So they'll probably just make like a Sucker Punch A team and B team.
Yeah, and it seems like now going forward, every game that their studios make lasts for 2 generations. So Ghost of Tsushima, PS4, PS5, Last of Us, PS4, PS5, and PS3, and so on and so forth. So I feel like whatever game they come out after with this, like from them, it'll be a PS6, PS7
That
type of
makes sense, and
series,
there'll be a new start.
and it'll be a new starter. Just like now, Heretic Prophet. That's technically Naughty Dog's new IP for PS5, technically,
Yeah,
right? So
that's a good point. I never thought of it that way,
yeah,
but
and we'll get
that's
a sequel to it.
and now Spider-Man is getting, I would think, kind of phased out. I mean, they'll
Yeah,
make a Spider-Man 3,
they
but that'll be
will.
kind of, I can see that be 2028. Like, I
Yeah,
think that is going to be cross-generational between PS5, PS6, and then we're going to
yeah.
go into the PS6 with, like, Wolverine moving forward with X-Men,
Yeah,
you know?
that will be the face of
Which
Insomniac.
just goes to show you Insomniac's freaking crazy.
Yeah,
Um, so okay, and then last person to talk about is Microsoft. I kind of felt like they were the least interesting to talk
yeah,
about.
yeah. They showed up at TGS.
Yeah, they showed off Forza Horizon 6.
Yeah, Microsoft Flight Sim with Japan locales. They're also interesting.
Yeah,
Don't know if it's gonna really do well,
it's
but
not really going to move the needle, but
yeah,
all
and
right, fine.
it's also coming on PlayStation 5.
Um, it's interesting to me that they announced, hey, this is coming out on Xbox and PC, and then later on PS5.
Oh, Forza Horizon 6.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for Forza, and it's like, oh, so that's just so it's not day and date. I
not
think
Dan.
we may have talked about that, but we don't know how long they're gonna wait.
If I had to guess, maybe 4 to 6 months. They did
Yeah,
that with Indiana Jones.
yeah. I mean, personally, I think waiting a year is kind of better. That's just me
I
because it's
make
like,
yeah, I agree.
double dipping. Because I think there are people who, and probably myself included, like if there's a game I really wanted and I didn't want to wait a year or a year and a half, like I would just buy it.
But
Then.
that's our economy. So Xbox doesn't sell well in Japan at all. And if you really want that user base to actually like play the game,
Yeah.
you got to really stay quick on
But
PS5
true, but for Forza, Forza 5 sold so well.
in the
For
US.
for your Yeah, but still objectively, like 2 million sales is a
Yeah, but
lot.
then if you're gonna reveal the game, why reveal at TGS?
I think it's just I don't think they're planning on selling much in Japan. I think they're just doing that because it's set in Japan.
Yeah, but it was dumb for them to not reveal at Gamescom than a month before. Like, if you know your bread and butter still, it's gonna sell better over here.
Yeah,
Why not
I would
showcase it?
agree with you on that. They should have shown it off at Gamescom
Yeah,
because that's where most people are paying attention. Like showing it off now kind of got
yeah,
overshadowed.
it's over there.
But it's also like the new Microsoft where like they don't care. And
Yes.
really, I think what's more important for them is good news, bad news sandwich. So then you
Sounds good.
always feel ambivalent about them, right? It's no surprise as soon as we hear about Forza Horizon 6, we have Xbox price increases,
Yeah, that
right?
was another thing.
And so that's them. But I think yes, Forza Horizon 6 will get more Xboxes sold in Japan, but with these price increases too, like who are you kidding? Like you're
Yeah,
not gonna sell that many more Xboxes. This is a game that's meant for the Western audience,
yeah,
right? Um, so, and I think even if you made people wait like 12 months, I think the game will still sell like crazy. So that's what I would do. Other games like Indiana Jones, I think it makes a difference. I think Starfield, it might make a difference, whether it's like 6 months or 12 months, but Forza or Halo, really Forza, Halo, or Gears, it doesn't matter.
yeah,
They're
yeah.
just too big.
This is so funny, just a renaissance, like this revival of those franchises,
Yeah.
and like they lost their identity, and they're like, we were doing this for so long, now we don't know what these franchises should be.
Yeah.
So
Watch one of them gets delayed and messes up their
yeah, that's
trifecta.
what I could see.
So there's
Um,
that. The price hikes are crazy. That is insane. I don't know how Sony is not also increasing their prices. It's
they did in the U.S.
Yeah,
just recently.
but just by 50,
Yeah, yeah.
which is crazy to me because Microsoft has increased by what, like 200, or is it
It's
150
something
now?
150 or
Yeah,
something. Insane
that's
prices.
nuts. And so Sony, even if they're selling at the same price, they're outselling you like 2.5 to 1, right?
Yeah, I
And
mean,
so it's
we
like
basically have a console
you
that's eight
have
hundred
no
dollars.
competitor. Your competitors are leaving the door open for you to increase your price. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, we basically have consoles worth $800 at this point. So it tells me that when the next generation of consoles come out, like looking at probably 700 minimum, if not more,
Oh yeah.
which is utterly insane because like we
If the
were,
Switch 2 is 450,
yeah,
right? This
yeah,
is definitely going to come out like 699.
699, 799. Like we literally just a generation ago paid $400 for a PS4 and an Xbox One. That's so insane.
Yeah.
And now to pay double that in
And
this
rising.
economy and rising, dude, it's kind of nuts.
And
Like,
no one wants to talk about it but tariffs. It's so funny, like all the games media, like no one is talking about like how
no,
this is tariffs, and it's like, dude, you can be honest about it. Like
yeah,
everyone gets everything made in Vietnam,
yeah,
right?
everyone gets
And
maybe
It's not even just a
China.
China thing; it's China and
Yeah.
Vietnam, and
Well,
tariffs are.
and like they can't really move them. They want to, but they can't because to maintain their profit margin, they can't make it cheaper like over here. So they're just going to pass on the
Price
cost
to
of
the
the tariff to
consumer.
the consumers.
Because for some things, like it'll make sense to move your workflow to
Yeah,
America. For other things, it'll make sense to move into a different like
yeah, location.
subset, or even like diversify your product.
Yeah,
Or that's what phones are doing,
yeah.
right? But video games, I think, is the one example where like you can't get
You
around it.
can't
It has to
because
pass to the consumer because it's not technically an essential. It's
yeah,
kind of a luxury good,
it's kind of a
right?
luxury, and you
And
sell 100 million
and it's
units.
based off a generational model that's 8 years,
Yeah,
roughly, and it has to be planned in advance. It's only profitable with massive economies of scale,
yeah,
right? And because of that, it has to be made overseas,
yeah,
right? So I think that's why we're not seeing like the tariff direct effect in other places, but We're seeing it in console prices,
Yeah.
right?
Well, yeah, we're not seeing it elsewhere because they're all moving, like I said, production.
Yeah. Or like Apple, like they didn't release, increase the cost of their iPhones because they were already scamming the heck out of people
That
with
too.
their iPhones. So like even if the production cost went up by double, like
Yeah.
they're only spending like $200 to make the iPhone. So like
So-
it makes no difference, and they're just gonna make that money up in services. So like other companies are not getting like slaughtered by it, but like
Yeah.
for video game consoles, like if you're already selling at a loss,
Which they normally do. The
which
first
you
year
have
or
to
two.
do that to make it up in software, like what other company is selling at a loss
Yeah.
at those scales and having a product that lasts for 8 years?
Yeah.
No one else.
No one
There's
else.
no other example because everyone else is built on making your product obsolete in 2 years.
Yeah. Yeah. It's like, it's funny, but a console generation is like a car. A car is meant to last like 8 to 10 years.
Yeah.
And that's why so many people are having a hard time developing.
And look at how much more expensive cars have gone.
Yeah.
And look at how many people are trying to switch out of the car cycle to now like 1 year, 2 year cars.
Yeah. And
let's get leases.
It's funny because a car depreciates over that span of time, like even within 8 years or 2 years. But that's exactly what happens to a console. They depreciate, and then you go, wait a minute. 5 years later, we're increasing the price even more. So now you're inflating not only your product, but you're causing an issue where most people cannot literally afford it. People buy it 3 to 4 years into a cycle because then they go, it's 100, $200 off. They go, wait a minute, now it went up 100, 200?
Oh my God, they must be so pissed.
Yeah, they can't afford it.
I wonder if they're going to get into the world of just leasing.
Yeah, I mean, Xbox started it. Remember a year and a half ago, 2 years ago? They have the program now where you can lease their console, pay quarterly or monthly or something. Yeah. It didn't catch on, but they started it.
But I think like in this economy, like
it's needed.
It make more sense. And I feel like Microsoft is not the one to make that happen, right? Like it has to be Sony or Nintendo. Because like if people are like, oh, the Xbox is too expensive, they're not going to buy the Xbox.
Yeah, they're not going to.
If the Nintendo Switch is too expensive, they will put it on a credit card.
Yeah, they'll put that bitch.
Right? They'll put it on a firm, right? Like it will be bought, right? Yeah. One way or another. Yeah. Like if your kids are begging for Mario and Pokemon, like you're not going to listen to them beg for Mario and Pokemon for 8 years.
Yeah,
you know?
Yeah, you're going to get it for them.
You're eventually going to make it happen, right? And so because of that, like the leasing option, like I feel like that's going to just blow up.
I do too.
Financing, lease, all those type of things. There'll probably be like just like a Apple Card, there'll be Sony Card, Nintendo Card.
Yeah. Speaking of, Hideo Kojima's partnering with, I forgot who, to make his own credit card.
Oh, of course. This guy, bro.
Yeah, that was one thing announced at the stream.
Surprised he didn't make an NFT. Remember when those were a thing? Yeah.
God, does that crash hard.
And then I guess the last thing to talk about would be the ROG Ally price. Did you expect that?
Yeah, I did. I mean, people thought $950 and $550, and then people like in their dreams wanted it to be $750. And
I saw something about $850. Like there was some leak. Someone took a picture. They were like $850. I was like $850. Oh, that's killer. Right?
Yeah, if it was $850, I'd be like, oh my God.
Because the ROG Ally, the one right now, not the ROG Ally. What is it? The Ally X.
Ally X.
Yeah, no, is that what they call it?
Yeah,
no, it's just is it just the ROG X, the old one?
The enhancement is ROG LIX.
No, the one you had that you sold. What was it called?
Yeah, the LIX.
Okay, yeah. So that one, isn't that like $1,000 now?
Yeah. No, when I bought it, it was $900, but it went up to $1,000 this past year.
Right.
Yeah, so it was expected. It's
Yeah, so it would have been so unlikely for the new product to be cheaper in this economy than the old product, which is already overpriced. And then Lenovo already jumped the gun and then made their console so expensive. So then this seems cheap.
Yeah.
The $1,000 though, that's kind of killer.
It's kind of killer.
I just think like 1,000 is just like this like mind-numbing number.
Yeah, it's a mind-numbing number.
Because if you had even made it $899, right, then I don't think that hits as hard. Because people are like, oh, $899, it's less than 1,000, right? It just doesn't hit the same for some reason. Like $799, $899. When you jump from $799 to $899, doesn't feel as bad. Yeah. If you jump from $899 to 1,000, it doesn't feel as bad. Does it? I feel like that jump is worse than like 1,000 to 1,100. Like, there's something about that number that psychologically just gets you.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's gonna be dead on arrival. No one's gonna buy it. Only the hardcore.
It's selling though.
I mean, is it?
Yeah, I think I wouldn't be surprised if the Ally X is selling.
Yeah, I'm not surprised because that has the best hardware. So if you're gonna get it, you go all out.
I think like I was reading some stuff saying that like the quantity might be low, but it's probably because it's just low quantity supply
Yeah,
to begin with.
yeah, exactly. Because they probably were anticipating a lot of people, but you know what? It's crazy because the rich in this economy are just rich, and like they're actually spending the most amount of money right now. They're propping up our GDP, our
I was
economy.
reading somewhere that a lot of the car companies are just surviving because of people buying expensive luxury cars.
Yeah,
Like the whole market is shifting towards that.
yeah.
It's ridiculous. It's just top heavy.
It's top heavy, and I think 45 to 50% of consumer spending is coming from people that own 10% or more of the wealth within the country. So it's mainly the people that are richer that are propping us up.
Yeah. I wonder how many Ally X's. I wonder if they will ever announce.
Oh hell no, they'll never. Hell no, you're crazy. They don't even announce the Xbox hardware numbers anymore.
I know that's so true. I just want to know. I just want to know. Is
I
it
mean, we know.
500 that were sold or 600?
Yeah, it's probably
No, it's probably gonna be more than that.
it'll be like maybe 20,000 or 50,000. But just remember, the Steam Deck in several years only sold like 3 million units.
Crazy.
Yeah,
I would have guessed 15.
yeah, I would have guessed the same 15, but like 3 million. So yeah, I mean, look, it is what it
If
is.
they get to 1 million sold,
Oh, it
that'd
would be
be an
shocking.
insane
I think they're
success.
hoping for that because of the Xbox branding attached to it. Because they have more loyalty than Asus, right? So
Yeah,
if you call it the Xbox LX, people are like, oh shit. But then when you see the sticker shock, you're like,
yeah.
what?
So I'm not gonna buy it.
Yeah,
When it was 850, I considered because I was thinking, okay, I just sold my Switch OLED, and okay, I'll try and sell my original Ally. Maybe I'll get 300 bucks for it. Okay, I'm getting 450, 500. Okay, another $400. That's not the worst thing. I was trying to stretch the numbers, justify it in my mind, right? But now if it's all the way to 1,000, I'm like, there's like better ways for me to spend that money, you know?
yeah. I mean, I'm still considering. Like, I mean, now I might wait. Because I'm like 1,000. Like, I liked actually my Ally X because I was playing games on it on a daily basis, and it was easy. That for me, like you know me, I like to sleep early a
Yeah,
lot now, and like if I get in bed in just 30 minutes, I'm like, dude, I was actually like knocking out games, like
yeah.
legit.
So for you, it might be worth it.
Yeah, like it
And
might be.
plus, you sold your old
And I
one
sold my old
and you
ones.
got most of the money
Yeah, I
back,
got
right?
almost all the
So
money
you
back.
technically are really getting a full upgrade.
Yeah, I really am. So it's like,
I think for your case, it might be worth it. If I was in your shoes and I had the Ally X and I sold it, got most of my money back, I would buy it.
yeah,
But when you're jumping from an Ally, which I bought for 400,
yeah, it
right? I
was
got it
so
on
insane.
sale,
Yeah,
and then now if I'm selling it for 300, like that jump is just painful,
it's
you
just
know?
painful. Yeah, I agree.
And it
Yeah.
just doesn't seem like it's worth it because yeah, the battery life is better, it's better optimized, but is it worth it for like 20% better improvement and double the battery? I can just strap on a battery pack and call it a day,
Yeah,
you know.
exactly. If it
And
was able to play games natively, Xbox, okay, different story.
if it was able to play native games and came with a dock and it was basically a Switch,
Yeah,
right, then
then
yeah.
yeah, it would have been
But
worth
then
it.
at that point I'd probably sell my
Yeah, exactly.
Xbox.
I wouldn't be playing games on the Xbox anymore.
And or if Microsoft announced right now that every future game that is released on the
Just
Xbox
play
is
anywhere.
Xbox Play Anywhere, then I'd be like, oh, okay. All right.
Yeah.
Then
So
I'd be far more likely to play. Like I just got Assassin's Creed. I was thinking, oh yeah, I'd love to play this. You know, I can't even play it unless I'm streaming. Like, and this is a new game. Like, what Microsoft Assassin's
yeah,
Creed is a huge franchise. Why
yeah.
couldn't you make this play anywhere?
I think they made some of them play anywhere, but it's the old ones. It's like the very
Yeah,
old ones, and it's like, oh,
it's like we really need to get to the point where we trust that every future game, big release, is going
has
to
to
be
be
played
played
anywhere.
anywhere.
You know?
That's the big thing. That can curb the whole native play thing. So if everyone gets a
Yeah.
PC version, which most games already do, you have to incentivize the
Yeah.
third party publisher by giving them a little
Like,
extra money.
would I be annoyed that like my old library of Xbox games can't be played? Yeah.
Sure.
But then you sell me on it, be like, oh, you can stream your old games,
Yeah.
and every new game going forward is Xbox
Yeah,
Play
that's all I
Anywhere on the
need.
Xbox. Then it's like
Yeah.
much easier sell.
Because then I get two copies of the game basically,
Yeah.
and then I can swap between my TV versus.
Yeah, and no
portable.
one's buying the Xbox PC version anyway.
Yeah, no one was. So if this would at least get them into the ecosystem.
Yeah. So I mean, I think the problem is Microsoft does not think it can convince developers to get the Xbox PC, and they're probably scared that if they threaten, "Hey, you cannot sell on the Xbox unless you make an Xbox PC," all of a sudden Sony has 200 exclusives.
Yeah,
That's probably their fear,
that's
right?
their fear.
I don't know. I think for the major games, everyone would do it.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that too. I don't know. It remains to be seen, but yeah, no. I mean, it's one of those things where again, the only enticing thing about this right now is that it has a dedicated AI hardware on
The
the
upscaling thing,
SoC,
yeah.
yeah, to allow for upscaling, which won't even be available at launch until I think January or something.
Oh, seriously?
Yeah,
And the thing is, although I love how they've optimized Windows, that is eventually going to come out on the
yeah,
old
it's
ones.
already in preview for
Yeah,
Windows
yeah,
11.
probably in a year.
So yeah, within a year you'll get it for everything else. They already said that it's going to compete Legion Go.
So we'll see. Maybe I'll reward myself at some point.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
I think you
it,
should.
if I go to the store and then I feel it in my hands and it's just absolutely amazing,
Yeah,
I'm like,
then
oh
do
man.
it.
But then when I think of the value proposition, I'm like, yeah, like that was like our trip to Orlando, right? Like, yeah,
Yeah, but think about it. If you end up using the thing for the next 3 to 4 years,
yeah. Is it even going to be usable for 3 to 4 years, right? Because if the new Xbox comes out and then it's handheld,
true. That's another thing. See, that's why I wish they were more clear on their messaging. It's like they don't want to destroy the sales for this going forward. But if you then announce a handheld 3 years from now, I'm gonna be so pissed because I'm like,
I would be so upset if I bought this
yeah,
now at $1,000
yeah,
and then
all of a sudden
in
to
2028 you're releasing a handheld
yeah,
Xbox. Like I'd be pretty
because
upset.
we already know PlayStation is making a handheld.
Yeah, if it was 5 years, I think that's enough to use.
Yeah, that's enough.
Four, I'd be unhappy, but okay. But
Yeah,
three does not feel like very much.
yeah, and like Sony, if Sony's handheld comes out and it can play PlayStation 5 and 6 games, like I'd be happy with that.
Yeah.
So,
So cool, cool. I think that just about wraps it up. Unless there's something else you want to talk about.
no, that's it.
All right, all right. Catch you guys later.
See you guys next time.
Peace.
Peace.